Chapter 373, Magical Pills. Yunchujo dodged the fireball in a fluster. She suddenly remembered that the gigolo had once said that the concealment talisman was only effective against those below the 5th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. That damn fire dragon had already discovered her. Yunchujo simply put away the concealment talisman. Perhaps she could use it again in the future. Anfeng saw that the situation was critical, so he did not care whether he was exposed or not. He also put away the concealment talisman and shouted, "Miss Jo, this is the fire dragon. We're no match to it. Quickly retreat. I'll hold it off." Yunchujo was stunned when she saw him. She did not have time to ask anything, so she rolled her eyes and said in a low voice, "Let's go into the spirit shield first. We can discuss and then decide what to do." Anfeng did not have any good ideas, so he could only cooperate with Yunchujo to catch the dragon's attention before he found an opportunity to enter Elder Xiao's spiritual energy shield. Elder Chu spat out a mouthful of blood and shouted with a hoarse voice, "Little Jo, what are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to go back to the sect?" Yunchujo ignored him. Instead, she took out a few bottles of pills from her storage ring and fed them 3 pills each. Seeing this, everyone could not help but smile bitterly. What quality pills would Yunchujo have? They're just hemostatic pills. Our injuries is so serious that it wouldn't take effect for a while. However, after consuming the pills, everyone discovered that the external injuries were visibly healing. Even the internal injuries were slowly healing. That was at least a 6th-grade blood regeneration pill for it to have such miraculous effects. Where did Yunchujo procure such high-grade pills? Did Elder Qi give it to her? That should not be. It would be generous for Elder Qi to even give her a couple of such high-grade pills. Why would he give her so many? Could it be that young Master D gave them to her? Everyone's condition improved slightly, and the spirit shield was also a little more stable than before. Only then did Elder Chu look at Anfeng and asked, "This is my Prince Charming's guard. If it wasn't for him protecting me, I wouldn't have dared to come in." Elder Chu, set up an isolation array. This fire dragon definitely understands our words. Elder Chu took out the isolation array plate and opened the isolation array. Only then did Yunchujo ask, "How long can this spirit shield last? Don't you have any other defensive spiritual artifacts on you?" Only then did everyone realize that Yunchujo had a ton of defensive spiritual artifacts on her. Some of them even looked somewhat familiar. Heavens! Was that not the birthday gift that she had scammed from us back then? Elder Chu smiled wryly. If not for those defensive spirit tools, we old geezers would have been finished long ago. We relied on our spirit stones to constantly replenish our spirit energy, and that's how we managed to hold on for so long. Now, the spirit stones are also about to be exhausted. In a while, once the spirit energy barrier fails, we'll hold back the fire dragon. You and this young friend must quickly retreat. Yunchujo rolled her eyes. Spiritual energy. She did have spirit stones, but that was what she had painstakingly obtained. She really could not bear to part with them. Moreover, she wanted more spirit stones. Yunchujia's eyes suddenly lit up. She took out a few porcelain bottles and gave each of them 3 pills. Swallow this and you'll naturally replenish your spiritual energy. Everyone saw 3 pills with golden pill patterns in their palms. Golden pill patterns? It was simply unheard of. They did not have time to look at the pills they had just swallowed. Could it be that those also had golden pill patterns? Everyone did not have time to think and swallowed the pills quickly. After a few dozen breaths, everyone felt the spiritual energy in the cave rush into their bodies rapidly. Their dantian, which was originally lacking in spiritual energy, was suddenly filled with spiritual energy. The spiritual energy shield also became more stable. The fire dragon felt the abnormality in spiritual energy and immediately became anxious. Its claws hit the spirit shield even more violently. Chapter 374, The Fire Dragon's Weaknesses. Everyone's spiritual energy was replenished and they took turns to support the spirit shield. Elder Xiao and Elder Chu could finally take a breather. Were these pills were given to you by young Master D, little Jiu? How many more do you have? Elder Chu asked curiously. Yun Chujiu blinked. Don't worry, I have enough to support you guys for 3 to 5 days. Although there aren't many of these high-grade pills, there are plenty of the super-grade spirit-gathering pills. What the hell? There are plenty of super-grade spirit-gathering pills? Are you kidding us? No matter how extraordinary young Master D is, super-grade pills can't be refined just like that. Bang! 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 Yun Chujiu took out 3 big buckets from her storage ring and placed them on the ground without saying a word. Little Jiu, although we're a little hungry, we can just take fasting pills. Why did you take out 3 buckets of rice? No matter how hungry we are, we can't eat so much. The corner of Elder Chu's eyes twitched. This little Jiu is really out of tune. Yun Chujiu grinned as she lifted the lid of the buckets. La la la. Look at what's all this. When everyone saw what it was, they were instantly dumbfounded. Inside the buckets were super-grade spirit-gathering pills with pill patterns. When did super-grade pills become so worthless? They were not even put in porcelain bottles, but in buckets instead? Also, how many alchemists were needed to have this much refined? The power behind young Master D was indeed unfathomable. Now you guys can be at ease, right? 8 to 10 days shouldn't be a problem. I don't believe that we can't think of a way to deal with the fire dragon by then. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. When everyone saw those spirit-gathering pills, their spirits jolted. What little Jiu said made sense. Everything depended on human actions. They would definitely be able to think of a way to deal with this fire dragon. Everyone had good ideas, but no matter how much they discussed, they still could not think of a great idea. Old Xiao and I have the highest spiritual power. When the time comes, well, hold off this fire dragon. You guys take the opportunity to run. This dragon is huge. Once it reaches the narrow area ahead, its speed will slow down, and you guys will have a chance to escape. Elder Chu felt that this was the only way in order for more people to escape. Yun Chujiu's little face darkened. Little Chu, your thinking is faulty. Why must you sacrifice a few people? Can't all of you live? Do you think your actions are very noble? If we really let you and little Pancher be sacrificed, would we still be able to have fun in the future? Won't we feel guilty for the rest of our lives? Elder Chu's face was painted red from Yun Chujiu's scolding. Little Jiu. Ah, little Yun Chujiu. Then what do you think we should do? We can't all just wait here to die, right? Yun Chujiu straightened her small body and said seriously, with me, your little ancestor, here, I will not let you all die. Let me think about it. You guys hold on while I take a nap first. Everyone was speechless. Yun Chujiu closed her eyes and her brain started operating at a rapid speed. What should she do? Send a voice transmission talisman to her Prince Charming for help. No, the Prince Charming must be busy with something. Otherwise, he would not be in such a hurry to leave. Besides, when he arrives, grass probably would have grown over their graves. What's the weakness of this fire dragon? Everything has a weakness. Even an outstanding person like me has a weakness. This fire dragon must have a weakness too. Yun Chujiu suddenly opened her eyes. Do you know what this fire dragon's weakness is? Everyone shook their heads. Little Ancestor Yun, fire dragons are very rare. We only know of its existence but have never interacted with it before. Therefore, we know very little about it. Yun Chujiu looked at Enfeng, who shook his head, indicating that he did not know either. Yun Chujiu curled her lips. These people aren't reliable, so I have to seek help from my gigolo. Therefore, she took out the voice transmission talisman and said with her divine sense, Dear Prince Charming, what is the weakness of a fire dragon? I'm waiting online. It's quite urgent. Chapter 375, Killing a Fire Dragon with Anger. A moment later, the voice transmission talisman began to vibrate. Yun Chujo quickly sent her divine sense into it and heard Di Biming say in a low voice, "If the fire dragon has yet to grow horns, attack its eyes and rear. For those that already have horns, attack the horns on its head first, then its eyes and rear." "Why are you asking this?" Yun Chujo giggled and took out another voice transmission talisman. "Prince Charming, I'm just asking." "I love you, moi." After Yun Chujo put away the voice transmission talisman, she realized that Elder Chu was staring at her with beaming eyes. Elder Chu asked with a trembling voice, "Little Jo, was that a voice transmission talisman?" "Yes, my idol gave it to me. Don't think too much about it." Yun Chujo quickly put away the voice transmission talisman, afraid that Elder Chu would try to snatch it. Elder Chu scratched his head awkwardly. "I was just asking out of curiosity. Does little Jo think that everyone is like her, snatching whatever she sees? My Prince Charming told me that the fire dragon's weakness is the horn on its head. Let's discuss how to deal with it," Yun Chujo said with a smile. The dragon outside was getting increasingly anxious. It was just about to break the spirit shield, but did not expect that it would actually become more stable after that little girl arrived. How hateful. After I break the spirit shield, the first thing you'll do is eat that little girl. The fire dragon attacked continuously for a long time and was getting tired. Thus, it laid in the middle of the road with its huge body and closed its eyes to rest. Just as the fire dragon was falling asleep, it heard an arrogant voice shouting, "Hey! Little Loach! I'm coming out. Come and bite me." The fire dragon opened its eyes and saw that damned little girl sitting on a large chopping board, flying around in front of it. The fire dragon was instantly enraged and stretched out its huge tongue toward Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo cursed in her heart. Why is this fire dragon acting like the single-horned demon lizard? It actually used its tongue to attack as well. I'll hack you to death. Yun Chujo waved her hand and a purple lightning bolt shot straight toward the tip of the fire dragon's tongue. Needless to say, the fire dragon had underestimated its opponent and was really struck. However, its tongue was much stronger than the single-horned demon lizard's. Although it hurt from being struck, it was not a big deal. Instead, it attacked Yun Chujo even more furiously. "You really have some skills. I won't play with you anymore. See you later," Yun Chujo said as she ran into the spirit shield. The fire dragon angrily hit the spirit shield with its claws. Unfortunately, the shield only trembled a little. After being replenished by everyone's spiritual energy, it was unbreakable. The fire dragon could not do anything. It returned to its original spot and closed its eyes to rest. A moment later, Yun Chujo ran out again. "Hey! Idiot, come and catch me. You ugly freak. What's the point of living if you're so ugly? Just crash into the wall and die." The fire dragon angrily pounced at Yun Chujo again. After dodging it nimbly, Yun Chujo once again hid behind the spirit shield. The fire dragon's intelligence was quite high and it immediately understood Yun Chujo's intentions. "She doesn't want me to rest. Humph. When you come out again, I'll ignore you." Hence, when Yun Chujo came out again, the fire dragon ignored her. Yun Chujo rolled her eyes and scolded loudly. "You're originally a long worm, and you even copied the divine dragon's long horn. You're really shameless. No matter how much you look like a dragon, you're still a fake." "What fire dragon? I think you should be called fire worm. You're just an ugly long worm." The fire dragon could not take it anymore and pounced on Yun Chujo again. After a few times, the fire flood dragon was extremely annoyed by Yun Chujo's teasing. This stinky girl is obviously at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm, so why is her power of lightning so strong? Plus, that broken vegetable board was flying up and down. What the hell was that? I couldn't catch it at all. The fire dragon had seen Yunchujo a few times, but it did not expect that her body was shining with light and had several layers of spiritual energy barriers, which made the fire flood dragon so angry. Is this stinky girl selling spiritual weapons? How could she have so many defensive spiritual weapons on her body? Chapter 376, Spice It to Death. Yunchujo teased the fire dragon so much that it could not rest at all. It knew that this was the enemy's plan, but that little girl's words were too harsh. It could not bear it anymore. After 3 rounds of tormenting for half a day, Yunchujo felt that the fire she stroked within the dragon was almost ready. Leaving behind 2 elders to support the spirit shield, the rest left the shield and went straight for the fire dragon. It saw everyone coming out and looked at them with contempt. They came out just in time. This fire dragon was hungry. Yunchujo sat on the chopping board and ordered from behind, poke its eyes. Stab its anus. Its eyes and anus are its weak points. As expected, everyone went straight for the fire dragon's eyes and anus. It looked at everyone with contempt again. Humph. If I did not have horns, the places that you attacked would indeed be weak points. However, I'm not afraid of you attacking these 2 places at all. You're really courting death. Although they had strength in numbers, the fire dragon's body was very strong. When the swords and sabers struck it, it was akin to being dotted. Damage was not done to the fire dragon even after attacking its eyes and anus. Fortunately, they had the spirit shield. When everyone felt that they were not a match, they would take turns to return to the spirit shield to rest. Therefore, even if they were injured, it was not a big deal. The fire dragon was very proud. Sooner or later, your spiritual energy would be exhausted. I have a strong body. Even if I can't spit fireballs, I can eat all of you just by relying on my strong body. After a few rounds, the fire dragon saw that everyone was moving slower and slower. It became even more proud. The humans were about to die. In just a little while, they would become its delicious meal. It had been a long time since it ate human flesh, and it really missed it. Therefore, when Yunchujo joined the battle on the chopping board, the fire dragon did not take it to heart. Although Thunder Root Spirit was rare, that tiny bit of lightning power was not a threat to it at all. Yunchujo shouted loudly, "Attack its anus. I have chili noodles here. Put it in. Won't the chili kill it?" The fire dragon was furious when it heard that. As expected, the little girl handed a few sacks to those people. Although the fire dragon had a strong body, it could not withstand chili noodles. It tried its best to dodge and kept attacking the people with its claws. Yunchujo smiled slyly and the chopping board suddenly flew above the fire dragon's head. It struck the fire dragon's red horns with several bolts of lightning. The dragon's attention was focused on its hind, and it was completely unprepared. The horns were the weakest part of its body, and with Yunchujo's powerful lightning and continuous attacks, the red horns were cut off by Yunchujo. The fire dragon cried out in pain as its huge body rolled on the ground. Everyone was overjoyed, and they continuously attacked the fire dragon's eyes and its backside. It was in unbearable pain. After the horns were cut off, the eyes and the butt of the fire dragon became vulnerable again. Very soon, it was worn down to the point that it could not fight back. After a while, the fire dragon lay on the ground motionlessly. They used the eyes as a breakthrough point to cut the fire dragon, preparing to take out its demon core. That way, there would be no mistakes. What everyone did not expect was that just as they saw the demon core and was about to take it out, a red light shot out from it and directly rushed toward Yunchujo, who was watching them. As this red light was not an attack, the defensive spirit tool on Yunchujo's body was not activated. This red light directly shot into Yunchujo's forehead. That's not good. The fire dragon is trying to possess her. Elder Chu shouted in shock. Chapter 377, Nemesis. The miserable Yunchujo did not expect the fire dragon to do that. Her eyes rolled back and she fainted. Elder Chu stamped his feet anxiously. It's over. It's over. This fire dragon's divine consciousness is much stronger than little Jio's. Once the possession succeeds, little Jio will be dead for sure. Elder Chu, then what can we do to help Yunchujo? Everyone was also extremely anxious. Elder Chu shook his head, there's nothing we can do. We can only hope Yunchujo will get through this. After the dragon's primordial spirit entered Yunchuji's divine consciousness, it immediately shouted arrogantly, "Stupid girl, did you think that I, the fire dragon, is so easy to kill? I'll swallow your primordial spirit, and then find a more suitable host." Yunchujo was still a spirit cultivator. Her primordial spirit had not yet taken human form. It was only a small purple ball. When it saw the fire dragon pouncing over, it continuously dodged it in its spiritual sense. The dragon was very pleased with itself. Her spiritual sense was only this big. Let's see where you can hide. I'll definitely swallow you up. You've been toying with me many times in the outside world. It's my turn to have a good time toying with you this time. The fire dragon was like a cat chasing a mouse. It could obviously easily catch up to Yunchuji's primordial spirit, but it kept chasing and stopping. The fire dragon kept laughing triumphantly when looking at Yunchuji's primordial spirit shivering. Stupid girl. I'm almost done playing, so I'll eat you now. Then, I'll use your body to kill those people. Isn't that fun? Ha ha ha. After saying that, the fire dragon pounced toward Yunchuji's primordial spirit. Just as it was about to catch up with Yunchuji's primordial spirit, Furry rushed up and blocked Yunchuji's primordial spirit. Furry was only a small ball in its primordial spirit form. Although it was trembling slightly, it still stood firmly in front of Yunchuji's primordial spirit, blocking it. When the fire dragon saw Furry, it was dumbfounded. What the hell is this? How can there be such a thing in the smelly girl's spiritual sense? However, no matter what you are, I'll eat you. The fire dragon smiled sinisterly and pounced at the ball of yarn. The ball of yarn used its small claws to resist, but it was no match for the fire dragon. Yunchuji's primordial spirit saw that the ball of yarn was injured and rushed toward the fire dragon. The fire dragon immediately gave up on the ball of yarn and bit Yunchuji's primordial spirit. Yunchuji's primordial spirit immediately curled up in pain. Yunchuji's divine consciousness was in a mess. Outside, Elder Chu and the others saw that Yunchuji's face was as pale as paper. She bit her lips tightly, and her forehead was covered with fine beads of sweat. Just as everyone was worried, a white light shot out from the rolling pin and hid between Yunchuji's brows. Everyone was instantly dumbfounded. What was that thing? It came out from that rolling pin. A weapon spirit? Ah, it must be the weapon spirit of the rolling pin. That's right. The rolling stick was left behind by Patriarch Linghua. It must be special. And Feng took out his voice transmission talisman and was about to send a message to Di Baiming but hesitated when he saw Little Silver Dragon. Since ancient times, flood dragons were extremely afraid of true dragons. Thus, Little Silver Dragon might be the nemesis of the fire dragon's primordial spirit. After Little Silver Dragon leaped into Yunchuji's divine sense and saw the fire dragon's primordial spirit tearing at Yunchuji's primordial spirit, it was instantly enraged. Little Silver Dragon clawed at the fire dragon. Fuck! He actually dared to bite my master. I can't beat you outside, but I'll torture you to death here. Flood dragons, such as this fire dragon, had a natural fear of true dragons, such as Little Silver Dragon. The fire dragon was instantly terrified when it saw Little Silver Dragon. Little Silver Dragon stretched out its claws and slapped the fire dragon. Damn it, who told you to bite my master? This slap is for my master. This slap is for Wool. As this slap is for myself. I'll slap you to death, you little bitch. Chapter 378, Seize all opportunities. The fire dragon's intestines were turning green with regret. If it had known that there was a dragon in this wretched girl's spiritual sense, it would not have chosen her no matter what. It had thought that this little girl was the weakest, so it had chosen her as a host. It did not think that she was a weirdo. After Little Silver Dragon slapped its claws at the fire dragon a few dozen times, it aimed at its primordial spirit's throat and took a bite. The fire dragon struggled with all its might. Upon seeing this, Furry and Yunchuji's primordial spirit quickly went over to help. Master, bite it. Eat this little bitch and your damaged primordial spirit will recover. Little Silver Dragon shouted loudly. Although the little purple ball had yet to take human form, it could still devour primordial spirits. Upon hearing Little Silver Dragon's words, it began to devour the fire dragon's primordial spirit. It struggled desperately, but Little Silver Dragon's claws held it down tightly. Furry was not willing to be outdone, so it kept kicking and scratching. Who told you to bite me? I'll kick you to death. Yunchuji's primordial spirit devoured half of the fire dragon's primordial spirit, and the other half was divided between Little Silver Dragon and Furry. The people outside noticed that Yunchuji's face was slowly turning rosy, and her expression changed from that of pain to a strange satisfaction. Then, she burped and woke up. The silver dragon also flew out from between Yunchuji's brows and entered the rolling pin again. Little Joe, are you okay? The people asked worriedly. I'm fine. That fire dragon's primordial spirit was eaten by me and Little Flame, Yunchujo burped and said. Little Flame? Is that the weapon spirit of that rolling pin? Yes. If it wasn't for this situation, I wouldn't have known that the rolling pin had a weapon spirit. The thing my master left me is indeed extraordinary. Yunchujo said with a smile. And Feng, who was beside her, heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he could not help but curse in his heart. Miss Jo, your ability to lie is truly unparalleled in the world. You didn't know. He had seen that little silver dragon countless times. However, Elder Chu and the others believed it to be true. They thought that it was because the rolling pin was eager to protect its master that the weapon spirit appeared. They all sighed. The first thing Yunchujo did when she got up was to put away the huge corpse of the fire dragon. A tier 12 demonic beast. My goodness, this would definitely sell for a lot of spirit stones. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched violently, but they did not say anything. After all, if Yunchujo had not saved them, they would have all died there. Little Joe, what's inside this sack? Is it really chilly? Why does it feel so heavy? Elder Chu kicked a few sacks on the ground and asked curiously. Hee, this is good stuff. It's the best to fool people. Yunchujo smiled and opened a sack for everyone to see. When everyone saw it, they were all in a mess. It was actually sand inside. I did this when I was in the Mystic Realms desert. Not only can I fool people with it, I can also make people curious during critical moments. It's a must-have for travel. Most importantly, it's free. It's absolutely free. Yunchujo tied up the sack properly and put it into her storage ring. Everyone felt that their worldview was refreshed once again. Before they could recover, they saw Yunchujo jumping into the fire dragon's huge nest. TSK. This fire dragon really doesn't care about hygiene. It's so messy in here. The nest was filled with the bones and fur of demon beasts. Yunchujo collected some high-level demon beasts and kept them. Their bones could be used as medicine, and the fur could also be used to make a few sets of fur mats. Furry can practice with them. The faces of Elder Chu and the others who followed her were stiff. This Yunchujo really seized all opportunities. She did not let anything go. Yunchujo saw that there was nothing left to take in the nest, so she said with a smile, Elder Chu, why are you all standing there? It's a waste not to take them. These bones are also good medicinal ingredients. Everyone looked at the bones that Yunchujo picked up on the ground, and the corners of their eyes twitched. Don't you feel guilty saying that? The good ones have all been picked by you, and the remaining ones are all low-level beasts. What's the point of them picking them up? Chapter 379, the mysterious fire spirit beast, Elder Shao, is the nest of the fire spirit beast ahead? Yun Chuzhou was in a good mood after making a small fortune. Elder Shao nodded. We'll reach the Sea of Fire in about an hour. The fire spirit beast should be hiding near the Sea of Fire. However, when I came here with my master in the past, there were no fire dragons here. I don't know if anything has changed. Then let's continue moving forward. By the way, I'm very curious about the fire spirit beast. Its poop is so valuable. It's really great. Yun Chuzhou hopped forward. Everyone thought about Yun Chuzhou's words. Why did they feel that there was something wrong with her words? She was not thinking about the fire spirit beast, was she? Everyone shook their heads. They were probably thinking too much. They might not even be able to see the shadow of the fire spirit beast, let alone catch it. Even if she had any wicked ideas, she would not be able to use them. The further they walked, the hotter it got. Everyone activated their spirit shields. Yun Chuzhou was the only one who did not care at all. An hour later, everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. About 100 meters ahead was the raging Sea of Fire. Everyone was shocked by the majestic scene of the Sea of Fire. At that moment, Yun Chuzhou thought, oh my god. Such an expansive Sea of Fire. How many fire spirit beasts would there be? After everyone recovered from their shock, they asked Elder Shao, is this fire spirit beast hiding in this Sea of Fire? Elder Shao shook his head, I don't know either. The last time we came, we waited here for a month. There was no sign of the fire spirit beast. We only heard a few beasts' roars occasionally. It was said to be the cry of the fire spirit beast. What exactly does it look like? Yun Chuzhou asked curiously. Elder Shao said with slight embarrassment, even the people of the Heavenly Gates sect have never seen the true appearance of the fire spirit beast. The Heavenly Gates sect originally had a portrait of the fire spirit beast that was passed down, but it was destroyed later on. So now, no one knows the true appearance of the fire spirit beast. They only know the cry of the fire spirit beast. Yun Chuzhou could not help but twitch her lips. They were too unreliable. They were there to capture the fire spirit beast without even knowing what it looked like. If the fire spirit beast could speak a foreign language and appeared right under their noses, they would not even know. Everyone was a little discouraged. The fire spirit beast was indeed too difficult to capture. Unless it came out of the Sea of Fire, there was nothing they could do. Everyone did not know how to go about it either. They could only take turns to wait and calculate the time limit given by the Heavenly Gates sect. They could only wait for another 3 days at most. If it was not fruitful, they had to return empty-handed. At night, everyone felt a little sleepy. They had not slept for several nights. Perhaps because Yun Chuzhou had swallowed the primordial spirit of the fire dragon, but she was very excited and did not feel sleepy at all. Therefore, she volunteered to work the night shift. Seeing that Yun Chuzhou's body was full of defensive spirit tools, there would not be any danger, so they agreed. Yun Chuzhou strolled to the front of the Sea of Fire, and observed the area. Her eyes were full of schemes. After she activated the defensive spirit tools on her, she moved closer and began to shout at the Sea of Fire, hey, is there anyone inside? There was complete silence in the Sea of Fire. There was no reaction at all. Yun Chuzhou stretched her neck and continued shouting, are all the fire spirit beasts dead? Seeing that there was still no reaction from the Sea of Fire, Yun Chuzhou touched her chin. Could it be that the fire spirit beasts did not understand the human language? That should not be. Did they not say that the fire spirit beasts were exotic beasts? If Little Black could understand her, they should be able to understand her too. Chapter 380, Going to trick the beast again. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes. She guessed that the fire spirit beast was very cautious. Otherwise, it would not have been impossible to catch it for thousands of years. Sigh, could it be that all the fire spirit beasts are dead? Sob, that's such a pity. Yun Chuzhou straightened her neck and began to howl. Elder Xiao and the others who were about to fall asleep when they were woken up by Yun Chujia's howl. Everyone was dumbfounded. What was Yun Chuzhou up to? So cute, so powerful, and such a magical animal has gone extinct. The heavens is really heartless. All of you have lived underground your whole life and have never seen the outside world. It's so sad to see all of you die just like that. The rolling pin and the ball of yarn felt that this line was somehow familiar. The two of them shook a little. Their evil master was going to trick the beast again. Sigh, there's nothing I can do. Since you're all dead, I'll just pay my respects to you. I'll burn some soft and sweet steamed buns for you so that you can have balanced nutrition in the afterworld. You don't have to eat hard stones anymore. Yun Chuzhou took out a few steamed buns from her storage ring and threw them into the sea of fire one by one as she spoke. Elder Xiao and the others were so angry that they were twitching. Has Yun Chuzhou gone mad? Isn't that a waste of food? The temperature of the earth fire is extremely high. Those steamed buns would instantly be turned into ashes. What was she planning? Could it be that she wants to use the steamed buns to attract the fire spirit beast? Don't joke around. As everyone knows, the fire spirit beast only ate ores. It didn't eat anything else, alright? She's simply messing around. Although everyone thought so, they still stretched their necks and looked forward. Something strange had happened. The first few buns had indeed turned into ashes, but when the fifth bun was thrown down, a shadow jumped out from the sea of fire, caught the bun that had yet to fall into the sea, and disappeared. Elder Xiao and the others were dumbfounded. Then, they were so excited that they almost screamed, "Fire spirit beasts! It must be a fire spirit beast!" Everyone held back the excitement in their hearts and did not come forward. They were afraid of disturbing Yun Chuzhou. Damn! Although Yun Chuzhou did not seem normal, these fire spirit beasts seemed even more abnormal. A fire spirit beast that had not shown its face for thousands of years actually appeared for a few steamed buns? It was simply too weird, was it not? A faint light flashed in Yun Chujia's eyes. TSK, any reaction would have sufficed. Fire spirit beast, no matter how refined you are, you can't beat me. Yun Chuzhou continued to throw large steamed buns into the fire. A few more figures flashed past, took the steamed buns, and disappeared. Due to the cover of the earth fire, the crowd could not see the figure clearly. However, the speed of those figures was astonishing. They disappeared without a trace in just a flash. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes as if she did not see the fire spirit beast. As she threw the buns, she shouted, "Poor fire spirit beasts! If only you were still alive. I still have a lot of delicious food here. Much better than steamed buns. Poor thing, I'm afraid you haven't eaten anything other than stones. I'm the most soft-hearted person, and I can't stand such a tragic story. If you didn't die, I would definitely feed all the delicious food in my storage ring to you. I don't care about the earth fire. What I like is your mysteriousness and your indifference to the world. If I can be friends with you, I'll definitely feed you until you're fat, so that you can play happily under the sun, and no longer have to hide in this underground life." Elder Xiao and the others were still very excited at the beginning. After all, they had seen the fire spirit beast. However, they were a little discouraged now. Although the beasts had picked up the buns, they seemed to be very cautious. How could Yun Chuzhou trick them into coming ashore with just a few words? Chapter 381, the other party threw a ball of earth fire at you. Yun Chuzhou threw about 20 steamed buns and clapped her hands. Sigh, it's getting late. I'm sleepy too. I'll continue to worship you tomorrow. After saying that, Yun Chuzhou retreated to where everyone was. Then, she took out a recliner from her storage ring and lay down on it, getting ready to sleep. Elder Chu and the others were very anxious, but they scratched their heads in confusion. They surrounded her. Yun Chuzhou mouthed to them, "Don't be impatient. Just wait and see." Although everyone did not understand what Yun Chujo meant, they could only return to their spots and continue resting. Yun Chujo was about to settle into her downtime when the voice transmission talisman in her storage bag started to vibrate. Yun Chujo took it out and used her divine sense to probe it. Di Baiming's deep voice sounded, "You went to catch a fire spirit beast? Be careful, don't overexert yourself. If you want it, I'll help you catch one when I have time." Yun Chujia's heart was beating fast. Her long-lived thick skin blushed slightly red. The gigolo's flirting skills were getting more and more powerful. "Prince Charming, I got it. Don't worry. By the way, you must guard your body like it's jade. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. If anything, I should be the one taking advantage of you," Yun Chujo said with a smile. The voice transmission talisman started to vibrate. Di Baiming's gnashing voice came from inside, "Nonsense. You must pay attention to your safety." Yun Chujo pouted. She thought he had improved, but he was still so arrogant. On the other side, Di Baiming saw the voice transmission talisman vibrate. He quickly sent his spiritual sense in and heard Yun Chujia's smug voice, "The other party doesn't want to talk to you," and threw a ball of earth fire at you. Di Baiming frowned. What did she mean? What did she mean by throwing a ball of earth fire at me? On the other side, Yun Chujo hugged her stomach and rolled around happily. Humph. Earth fire is the fire spirit beast's shit. I won't use curse words even though I'm scolding you for being arrogant. On the other side, Di Baiming frowned and thought for a long time, but he still did not understand what she meant. He decided he would ask the black thing again when they met. There were only 5 voice transmission talismans in total, so it was better not to waste them. Elder Xiao and the others saw Yun Chujo laughing foolishly on the recliner as if she was having a seizure. They were all dumbfounded. This girl was really too impulsive. They did not know what her plan was, and whether she could lure the fire spirit beast out. Yun Chujo slept for a while. The next morning, she continued grumbling in front of the sea of fire, but this time, she threw a meat bun in instead. Suddenly, a few figures flashed through the sea of fire. They jumped up to catch the meat buns and disappeared. After Yun Chujo threw dozens of meat buns, she took out the stack of books she bought and began to read them with great interest as if nothing had happened. And Feng's eyes twitched when he saw the title of the book. The books was not, "Me and my 3,000 beautiful male cultivation furnaces," but, "My 81 male pets, my beautiful male harem," and so on. And Feng thought to himself, if His Excellency found out about this, he would be furious. This Miss Jiu is really outrageous. When Elder Chu and the others saw Yun Chujia's book, their faces turned red. Elder Xiao said with a dark face, "Yun Chujo, how can you read these books at such a young age? Hurry up and put them away." Yun Chujo did not feel embarrassed. She said with conviction, "I'm just taking precautions. I don't know much about things between men and women. What if I'm deceived in the future? You guys, it's because you lack this kind of knowledge that you've become single old men." Chapter 382, Let's Go Back. Elder Xiao almost choked when he heard Yun Chujia's words. What nonsense. We're all focused on cultivation and have never considered the affairs between men and women. It's not what you said at all. If it's not, then it's not. What are you so hung up about? Why don't I lend you a few books to read? Yun Chujo said with a smile. Elder Xiao felt that he would die of anger if he continued arguing with Yun Chujo. He turned around and left. Yun Chujo waved the book in her hand. Hey, who wants to read it? I'll lend it to you for free. Everyone shook their heads like a rattledrum. Yun Chujo is really too unrestrained. We can't afford to offend her, but we can hide from her. Therefore, everyone ignored Yun Chujo and left one after another. Yun Chujo curled her lips and continued reading with relish. For the entire day, Yun Chujo did not go to the Sea of Fire at all, and only ate and kept reading the book. Everyone was really confused, and every time they wanted to ask, Yun Chujo would stop them with her eyes. She would not let them ask, so everyone could only wait and see. At night, Yun Chujo threw dozens of meat buns into the sea of fire. She mumbled a few words that were similar to what she said the night before and then went back to sleep. On the third morning, when everyone thought that Yun Chujo would throw the buns again, they found her sitting on the recliner, unmoving. Everyone was unsure what Yun Chujo was doing. Why did she suddenly stop the feeding? At first, there was nothing unusual with the sea of fire. After a while, everyone realized that there were a few figures jumping around in the sea of fire. Although they could not see clearly, they could tell that there were about 7 or 8 fire spirit beasts. Yun Chujo then stood up from the recliner and walked to the front of the sea of fire. When the fire spirit beasts saw Yun Chujo coming over, they became more active and jumped around even more. Yun Chujo picked up a meat bun but did not throw it into the sea of fire. Instead, she ate it herself, and as she ate, she mumbled, "Sigh, I've been feeding you for 2 days and I still haven't seen you eat it. I guess none of you like this meat bun. I'll keep it for myself to eat. You guys can continue eating stones." Squeaking sounds came from the sea of fire, but Yun Chujo acted as if she did not hear it. As she ate, she continued to mutter, "Oh my! Why are the buns today even more delicious than the previous ones? They're delicious, juicy, and so fragrant. Sigh, I can't see you guys anyway. I'll leave after breakfast. You guys can continue living happily in this dark underground. I've already given you a chance. Since you guys don't want to grab the opportunity, there's nothing I can do. There are so many delicious food like this bun outside, but you guys can't eat it anymore. How pitiful." The few figures in the sea of fire seemed to be a little anxious. A few of them jumped forward. Before the crowd could see clearly, the few fire spirit beasts were pulled back by the ones behind them. Yun Chujo cursed in her heart. There must be some old and young fire spirit beasts. There were some who were impatient and some who played it safe. It seemed that they had to continue working hard. Yun Chujo sighed. "Sigh, I'm such a soft-hearted person. I'll leave these delicious food to you guys. I'm leaving." After saying that, Yun Chujo placed dozens of meat buns on the ground. After thinking for a bit, she placed 2 pots of stewed meat on the ground, then, she clapped her hands and said to the crowd, "Let's go back. Since these fire spirit beasts are willing to gnaw on rocks, why should we meddle in other people's business? We can't do anything about the earth fire. Anyway, I have the heavenly thunder root spirit. When I'm free, I can help you hack some of your stuff. Let's go." Chapter 383, Beautiful Fire Spirit Beasts. Elder Xiao and the others saw that Yun Chujo was winking at them so much that her eyes were about to cramp up, they could only turn around and walk out in confusion. Everyone had the same thought. Would this work? Would those fire spirit beasts really take the bait? Would they really come out from the sea of fire? Yun Chujo silently counted in her heart. 1, 2, 3. When Yun Chujo counted to 30, a few fiery red figures jumped out from the sea of fire and pounced on the food. Yun Chujo did not stop and continued to walk forward. She also indicated that everyone should not pay attention to what was happening behind them. Yun Chujo muttered as she walked, "Let's go quickly. There's neither delicious food nor beautiful scenery in this cave. It's really suffocating. I'll never come to this lousy place again. I really don't know how the fire spirit beasts can endure for thousands of years here. What a low-key mystical beast. Let's go back and grill some meat. Earth fire isn't that great anyway. The flame is too uncontrollable, so it's better to grill it with tree branches. We can also eat it with hot pot, maybe stir-fry a few side dishes, and make a pot of spiritual wine. TSK, I'm dying of hunger. After dinner, we can play on the swing, and soccer is so fun. Let's hurry up and leave. I can't wait." Yun Chujo said that she would leave quickly, but her footsteps were slow. She perked up her ears to listen to the sounds behind her. As the saying goes, people die for money and birds die for food. I don't believe that these greedy beasts can endure it. Squeak squeak. Squeak squeak. The fire spirit beast behind them finally could not help but squeak. Yunchujo still did not turn her head. She continued to mumble as she led the group forward. Squeak squeak. Squeak squeak. Squeak squeak. The fire spirit beast's cries became even more urgent. Yunchujo still turned a deaf ear to it. She even quickened her pace. Finally, a few fiery red figures leaped over and began to chirp anxiously about 30 feet away from the crowd. Yunchujo looked as if her ears had just came back on. She turned her head around with a look of surprise. Huh? Are you guys calling for me? The crowd followed Yunchujo and turned around as well. They saw 5 fiery red small beasts standing about 30 feet away from the crowd. There were also 3 slightly larger beasts by the side of the sea of fire. These small beasts were only about 2 feet in size. They looked similar to fire-breathing panthers. They had fiery red fur and their eyes were like rubies. They were bright and beautiful. The 3 slightly larger fire spirit beasts started to squeak anxiously. It seemed like they were calling the 5 small fire spirit beasts to return. However, these small fire spirit beasts were having a friendly conversation with Yunchujo. Are you fire spirit beasts? You're so beautiful. You're the most beautiful spirit beasts that I've ever seen. Yunchujo squatted down and said with a smile. The 5 small fire spirit beasts raised their necks proudly. Apparently, they were enjoying the compliments very much. Do you want something from me? I'm leaving now. This cave is so boring. The 5 small beasts seemed to be a little hesitant. They used their forelegs to push the sand around anxiously. Do you want to eat good food? I only have 2 roast chickens left, you can have them. I'm leaving, take care. Yunchujo said as she took out 2 roast chickens and placed them on the ground. Then, she signaled everyone to leave with her. Everyone resisted the urge to capture the few small fire spirit beasts and followed Yunchujo. The 5 small beasts pounced on the roast chicken and started eating it. How could 2 roast chickens be enough for them? In just a few bites, they were all gone. The 5 small fire spirit beasts looked at each other and started to squeak once again at Yunchujo's back. Yunchujo turned around and spread her hands. There's really nothing left. If you guys want more, you'll have to come back to Spirit Radiance Sect with me. At that moment, 3 large fire spirit beasts ran over and kept roaring at the 5 small beasts, trying to grab their bodies and pull them back. Chapter 384, Would you agree? Elder Xiao and the others were dumbfounded. Oh my god. Was it not said that fire spirit beasts were hard to find? They actually saw 8 of them at once. There were others who were there for months and did not even spot a single fire spirit beast. Yet, little Jiu used a few big buns to fish up 8 fire spirit beasts. Had these fire spirit beasts not eaten buns in their past lives? Are you all mutated beasts? Can you have some integrity? You actually took the bait just for a few buns? And those 5 small ones, no matter how you look at it, they seem to want to rely on little Joe. They were even playing into this game. It was just that these 3 big ones that didn't seem to agree. What would little Joe do next? Everyone thought that Yunchujo would convince the 3 big fire spirit beasts to go with. They did not expect Yunchujo to wave her hand at the 5 small fire spirit beasts. You guys can go back. Your elders are doing this for your own good. If you don't listen to them, you'll suffer a loss in the future. Hurry up and go back. Elder Xiao and the others wished that they could sew Yunchuji's mouth shut. Are you stupid? If you say that, wouldn't we have wasted our efforts? The 3 big fire spirit beasts obviously did not expect Yunchujo to say that. They could not help but be a little confused. What did this human little girl mean? Yunchujo sighed. Actually, I'm not that kind. I gave you food because I wanted to bring you back to the sect and use your earth fire to refine pills. Although the outside world is very interesting, and it'll provide you with good food, you still have to do something for us. So, you should listen to your elders and continue to stay in this dark cave. After all, it's very safe here. The three adult fire spirit beasts hesitated after hearing Yunchuji's words. This human girl said it so bluntly, so it didn't seem like she's lying. Yunchujo continued, I know that you fire spirit beasts are very wary of humans. That's understandable. However, are you really willing to stay hidden in this cave for thousands of years? You don't see the sun all year round and can only eat ores. Besides, you don't seem to have any other abilities other than producing earth fire. With such a closed environment, you probably won't be able to advance forever. Moreover, I previously killed a tier 12 fire dragon. It's said that this fire dragon didn't exist before. What does that mean? It means that there are already high-level, fire-type demon beasts eyeing this place. Those demonic beasts might not be afraid of your earth fire. When the time comes, what awaits you will be a disaster of extermination. Yunchujo, don't dare to say anything else, but I can swear here that I absolutely will not harm you. Yunchuji's last few words had clearly hit the sore spot of the three big fire spirit beasts. The fire dragon from before had tried several times to get to them, but perhaps its level was not high enough so it failed halfway through. If the fire dragon advanced again, it was very likely that it would be like what the little human girl had said. It would eat all of the fire spirit beasts. Perhaps, the arrival of this little girl was an opportunity for the fire spirit beasts. She said that she had a heavenly thunder root spirit, but she was not killed by the heavenly trials. There must be something special about her. The three big fire spirit beasts looked at each other and discussed for a while. Then, they brought the 5 little beasts and raised their front claws, bowing to Yunchujo. Yunchujo was overjoyed in her heart, but she looked calm on the surface. You're following me? If that's the case, squeak once. If not, squeak twice. Elder Shao and the others' hearts were in their throats. Would these fire spirit beasts really agree? Chapter 385. This girl was trying to trick them again. Elder Shao and the others held their breaths as they stared at the fire spirit beasts, afraid that they would not agree to leave with Yunchujo. Under everyone's eager gazes, the 8 fire spirit beasts nodded one after another and squeaked. All right. Since you've already decided, do you still need to go back and retrieve anything? If you don't need anything, let's go. Yunchujo was laughing in her heart, but she looked calm on the surface. The 8 fire spirit beasts shook their heads. There was nothing else there other than ores and earth fire. Frankly, they had long since grown tired of the place, but they could only hide there for their own safety. Yunchuji's eyes rolled, and evil tricks bubbled up in her heart. If she brought those 8 fire spirit beasts back to Spirit Radiance sect, she would not get anything. She had to keep them for herself. Yunchujo said with a troubled expression, Elder Chu, these fire spirit beasts are too eye-catching. If we take them out like this, we'll definitely be targeted and robbed by all sorts of forces. Elder Chu and the others were so happy that they were dumbfounded. They had silly smiles on their faces. Oh my god, there are 8 fire spirit beasts. The Heavenly Gates sect relies on just one fire spirit beast and are already so cocky. Spirit Radiance sect has 8 of them in one go. Oh my god, we've struck the gold mines. It was not until Yunchujo asked them several times that they finally came back to their senses. Ah. What did you say? Yes, what you said makes sense. Then what should we do? Elder Chu looked at Yunchujo. She was a little fairy. No. That's not right. She was a money-grubbing little girl. Yunchujo touched her chin and said awkwardly, it's best to hide them. It's better to put them into the spirit beast pouch. However, spirit beasts that don't have owners can't be put into the spirit beast pouch. Anfeng blinked his eyes. Miss Jo, Is it really okay for you to lie like this? The spirit beast pouch given to you by His Excellency can obviously contain a spirit beast that doesn't have an owner. Elder Chu and the others knew that spirit beast pouches indeed could not contain a spirit beast that did not have an owner, so Yun Chujo successfully led them astray. What should we do? Although we've never seen a fire spirit beast before, people would guess their identity easily since we're here in the Fire Valley. Little Joe is right. The safest way is to put these fire spirit beasts into the spirit beast pouch. However, if they don't have an owner, they won't be able to put them into the pouch. And Feng said nonchalantly, then why don't we just get these fire spirit beasts acknowledge someone as its owner? Yun Chujo gave Feng a bunch of thumbs up in her heart. What did it mean to be a promising and ambitious subordinate? And Feng was a pretty good example. But since ancient times, these strange beasts have never acknowledged any masters. They're stubborn and would rather die than be driven by others. It's said that the one from Heavenly Gates sect stayed there by chance, but didn't acknowledge a master, Elder Chu said with a frown. Yun Chujo said with a smile, everything depends on the person. Let me try. Yun Chujo squatted down and said to the three big fire spirit beasts, you heard it too. If you don't acknowledge a master, someone might come after you once you get out of this fire cave. I won't force you, but you should think about it carefully. If you acknowledge a master, it will not only ensure your safety, but also facilitate communication. If you have any needs, it'll satisfy you immediately. Elder Chu and the others finally understood. Oh God, she was tricking them again. If the 8 fire spirit beasts acknowledged her as their master, would she not be able to be all-powerful? Chapter 386, Wipeout. It was already too late for Elder Chu and the others to repent. They could not possibly expose Yun Chujo in front of the fire spirit beasts, right? At that time, all their efforts would be for naught, and they would still be the ones crying. This little girl was really too shrewd. If they were not careful, they would fall into her trap. It was simply impossible to guard against her. However, would these fire spirit beasts agree? Fire spirit beasts were exotic beasts. How could they be easily fooled by little Joe? Following them and acknowledging their master were two different things. Everyone's gaze was focused on the 8 fire spirit beasts. Those 5 little beasts were clearly a bunch of little brats. Hearing Yun Chuji's words, they nodded their heads in agreement without a care, but the 3 adult beasts were a little hesitant. They were exotic beasts. If they acknowledged a master, would that not be a disgrace to their fellow exotic beasts? Besides, after recognizing a master, they had to obey their master. They were used to being free and did not want to be restricted. If they were restricted, they might as well eat rocks in the fire cave. Yun Chujo saw that the 3 big fire spirit beasts were a little hesitant, so she said with a smile, I'm doing this for your sake. How about this? In order to show my sincerity, we can sign an equal contract. How about it? Besides, I'm a very easygoing person. I'll try my best not to interfere with your lives. I have the heavenly thunder root spirit. If you sign an equal contract with me, it'll be a matter of pride if word gets out. You fire spirit beasts have such a long lifespan. I'm just a short moment in your long life. When I'm dead, you'll regain your freedom. When the 3 adult beasts heard that there was a contract, they found an excuse to be okay. It was an equal contract anyway, so it would not be too embarrassing if word got out. Besides, the little girl was right. Fire spirit beasts had a lifespan of more than 10,000 years. When she died, they would be free. Besides, it was enough that they stayed underground for thousands of years. The 3 fire spirit beasts exchanged glances with each other, then nodded and made a sound, indicating that they had agreed to acknowledge their master. Elder Chu and the others were dumbfounded. With just a few words, these exotic beasts had forgotten their integrity. They had agreed to acknowledge a master just like that. 8. There were 8 fire spirit beasts. The people of the Tianyuan continent racked their brains, but they had not even seen a single one. She used a few tattered buns and a few words to trick all 8 of them. Was that not too much of a blow to them? Yun Chujo bit her index finger and dripped blood into the mouths of the 8 fire spirit beasts, then began to form seals. What they did not know was that at that moment, a huge ancient and complicated pattern had formed in the air above the fire cave. Almost at the same time, several thick and heavy dark clouds began to gather from all directions. The heavens was furious. Yun Chujo. It's one thing for you to repeatedly escape the thunder tribulation. But you actually made a contract with an ancient beast. And you even contracted 8 of them in one go. You're too arrogant. I'll definitely kill you today. Yun Chujo did not know that a great disaster was about to befall her. After she contracted with the beasts, she happily put the 8 fire spirit beasts into her spirit beast pouch. She even put a lot of delicious food in it. As the saying goes, the exploiter is soft-spoken, but the hand that feeds is short. She would feed them well and then use them to scam other people's spirit stones. Elder Xiao and the others looked at Yun Chujo with envy and jealousy. Constantly comparing oneself to others was infuriating. Yun Chujo was in a good mood at that moment, and said generously, "Those who are here will have a share. If you need earth fire in the future, just holler. It's free. Anyway, it's ours." How convenient. Chapter 387, Dark clouds. The corners of Elder Chu's and the others' eyes twitched violently. What? From what she said, did she mean that she wanted payment when someone else used the earth fire? Could it be that she still wanted money from Master Xianyuan? And Feng, who was at the side, could only feel a surge of admiration in his heart. No wonder his esteemed self had taken a fancy to Miss Jiu. His esteemed self really has discerning eyes. Who would have thought that the dark and useless little girl from back then would actually be so heaven-defying? TSK, taking in 8 beasts in one go. Just relying on the earth fire alone could earn them a fortune. The group spent another day or so before exiting the fire cave. As it had already been 5 days since Yun Chujo entered the cave, Liao Chuan and the others had already set off to Spirit Radiance sect. However, everyone quickly discovered that something was amiss. According to the time, it should be morning, so why was it so dark outside? Moreover, everyone noticed that there seemed to be a huge pressure between heaven and earth slowly coming down on them. Even though they were already at the Spirit Emperor realm, they still felt a little breathless. Yun Chujo immediately had an ominous premonition in her heart. Fuck. The damned heaven could not bear to see her doing well. If something good happened to her, it would come and join in the fun. This time, the cloud formation was even bigger than the time when she and the gigolo were completely hacked naked. It was probably not going to be peaceful. This godforsaken god is probably going to strike me with lightning again. Hurry up and leave, don't be implicated. Yun Chujo said to the crowd. Little Joe, why does it look like this time is even more serious than the previous times? Can you handle it? Elder Chu asked worriedly. Ah, don't worry. It's good to be struck by lightning. You guys should leave quickly. You guys aren't as weird as me. You'll be in trouble if you get struck by lightning. Yun Chujo waved her small claws and pretended to be relaxed. Everyone thought about it. They really could not be of much help anyway. They gave a few words of advice, but they did not go too far. They were only about 2 miles away. Yun Chujo frowned. No, it's too close. At least 10 miles away. Otherwise, it'll be struck by lightning later, and you'll all be able to see it. And Feng, don't just stand there. Hurry up and leave. Miss Jiu, and Feng wanted to say something, but Yun Chujo said with a straight face, do my words not carry weight? Hurry up and leave. Otherwise, it'll get Prince Charming to deal with you. And Feng had no choice but to follow Elder Chu and the others and retreat 10 miles away, staring worriedly in her direction. And Feng thought for a moment, took out a voice transmission talisman, and told Di Biming about the situation. After receiving Feng's message, Di Biming was burning with anxiety. However, as the saying goes, water from a distance cannot quench the thirst of those who near. He took out the remaining unused voice transmission talisman and said, "Black Thing, you must stay alive. Otherwise, I'll strangle you to death even if I have to chase you underground." Yun Chujo took out the voice transmission talisman and heard it. She could not help but twitch her lips. She thought to herself, since I've already gone underground, I must have already died. What's the point of strangling me? Stupid. Prince Charming, don't worry. I haven't slept with you yet. I won't die. After Di Biming received the voice transmission talisman, he could hear that Yun Chujia's tone was relaxed. The worry in his heart eased a little. The black thing would definitely be fine. Yun Chujo kept the voice transmission talisman into her storage ring, and then deliberately walked a distance forward to prevent the fire cave from collapsing. She gave herself a thumbs up. She was too kind, always thinking of others. If she did not go a little further, the demonic beasts in the fire cave would all be hacked into charcoal. Chapter 388. For real this time Yun Chujo found a flat area and drew a circle with the rolling pin. Then she sat cross-legged in the circle and said to the dark clouds in the sky, "Hey! Come on, let's hurt each other. Hit me. Hit me more accurately. If you hit the outside of this circle, you're a bastard tortoise lightning. You only know how to hit me when you have nothing to do. If you have the ability, why don't you go and split the mountain? It'll save you the trouble of having you gong and the others move the mountain. 1. Why don't you go and split the sea? You can do whatever you want. No matter how you hack it, you can't break it." The rolling pin was on the verge of tears. "Master, can you keep a low profile?" Yun Chujo curled her lips. "Even if I kept a low profile, it would still hack me. Why don't I scold it to vent my anger while it's at it?" The rolling pin had no words. The 8 fire spirit beasts in the spirit beast pouch were almost regretting their actions. Damn it! What kind of master had they acknowledged? They were actually struck by lightning for no reason. They were simply scared to death. The dark clouds in the sky were trembling. "We, the dark clouds, can't do anything to you. Today, we're all gathered together. We don't believe that we won't be able to strike you to death. Today, we'll return all the insults you gave us in the past. Today, we will definitely strike you to death." The dark clouds in the sky gathered even faster, and the entire sky darkened. In the distance, Elder Chu and the others could only see that the area near the fire valley was dark, as if it was shrouded in black fog. Nothing could be seen. Their hearts were in their throats. The heavens was really going all out this time. Could little Jill withstand it? Yun Chujo was very uneasy. Heavens, this darn god is playing for real this time. Strange grass, little mirror, now is the time for you to show off your skills. If I'm going to die, you won't be able to live either. All of you, work hard. Strange grass and the great void mirror seemed to be a little uneasy as well. They did not respond to Yun Chujo as usual. They only moved slightly, which meant that they had heard Yun Chujia's words. Yun Chujo frowned. "Why are all of you cowards? Weren't you pretty awesome when you occupied my Dantian back then? Weren't the 2 of you arrogant when you fought? Why are you all cowards now? All of you, be more energetic." In order to ease her nervousness, Yun Chujo took out a fruit and started to eat it. Well, even if she died, she had to be a glutton. Finally, the entire black curtain of a sky seemed to have been torn open, and a purple lightning as thick as a bowl fell from the sky. Yun Chujo sucked in a breath of cold air. Damn it! She had already put on a show at the beginning. This time, it was really going to be tough. Yun Chujo did not run. It was useless to run. This damn purple lightning knew how to navigate around well. The lightning struck Yun Chujia's body. Yun Chujo shivered. Fortunately, Her meridians were strong. Although her body was stiff from the strike, it was not a big deal. Just as Yun Chujo regained her senses, another thick lightning struck down. Boom! 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 The thick bolts of lightning struck down continuously, and the place where Yun Chujo was quickly turned into a deep pit. Yun Chujo was already numb from the strike. She felt that other than her eyeballs and spiritual sense, the rest of her body parts had already stopped working. Even though the strange grass and the great void mirror in her dantian were swallowing large mouthfuls of lightning, the power of the lightning was too much. The speed of their swallowing could not keep up with the speed of the power of the lightning entering her dantian. Yun Chujo watched as her dantian swelled up like a balloon. Yun Chujo could not help but laugh at herself. Damn it! If this continued, she would definitely be blown into pieces by her dantian. Chapter 389, Deep Affection in the Distance. Elder Chu and the others were worried when they saw how powerful the heavenly lightning was. They wanted to step forward and help Yun Chujo, but when they were about 5 miles away from her, they were forced to take a step back by the overwhelming pressure. Elder Chu could not help but let out a long sigh. It's over. The heavens is really serious this time. I'm afraid little Jiao is doomed. And Feng gritted his teeth. After weighing the pros and cons, he still reported the situation to Di Baiming. His esteemed self was far away in the Tianyuan continent. By the time he arrives, Miss Jiao would already be dead. Sigh, so what if she had a heavenly root spirit? Escaping punishment for going against the heavens was impossible. The terrifying heavenly lightning struck for a full 10 hours before the dark clouds gradually dispersed. A ray of sunset hung over the horizon. The twilight was heavy, and everything seemed to have returned to normal. Before everyone could react, a flying spirit tool quickly flew over from the sky. Di Baiming jumped down from it and headed straight for the terrifying deep pit on the ground. Elder Chu and the others also quickly ran over from afar. Di Baiming's angry but trembling voice came from the deep pit. Black thing. Black thing. Little Jiao. Where are you? Little Jiao. Answer me. Are you trying to rebel? Answer me quickly. Yun Chujo, if you don't make a sound, I won't forgive you. Everyone's hearts sank and they all went down to the bottom of the pit. They saw that the bottom of the pit was charred black. Other than a few pieces of charred clothes, there was no sign of Yun Chujo. Di Baiming's eyes were red and the veins on his forehead bulged. He used his hands to dig the soil around him. Everyone saw the situation and quickly helped. They felt lucky. Maybe little Jiao was just buried in the soil. Little Jiao would definitely be fine. The sky gradually darkened. Fortunately, it was a full moon that night so they could clearly see their surroundings. Di Baiming's hands were already numb from digging. He did not dare to use his spiritual power, nor did he dare to use his spiritual tool. He was afraid that he would accidentally hurt Yun Chujo, who might be buried somewhere. His fingernails were broken and his hands were covered in blood. And Feng did not dare to persuade him. They had already dug so deep and so wide, but there was still no trace of her. It was likely that she had already been hacked into ashes. Di Baiming's heart was filled with sorrow and guilt, as if he had been cut off from the outside world. Only by constantly digging could the pain in his hands numb the despair in his heart. Prince Charming, when I first saw you, I fell in love at first sight. I stole your clothes because I'm happy for you. I really love you too much. Prince Charming. It's really you, Prince Charming. That's great. I thought I was dreaming just now. Prince Charming, I'm so lucky to see you again. Thank you so much. Prince Charming, you're so good to me. I can't repay you. In the future, you can drink my blood as much as you want, as long as you don't drink me to death. Prince Charming, you have to wash up before you go to sleep. We were caught in the rain just now, it would be unsanitary if we didn't wash up. Just wait, I'll go get some hot water. In a while, I'll personally wash and bathe you. I'm just thick-skinned. I'm just shameless. What can you do to me? I'm going to kiss you now. My Prince Charming, didn't you say that you wouldn't stop me? Then why are you pulling my arm? Let go of me, I'm going to hit the wall. My Prince Charming, don't worry. I haven't slept with you. I won't die. The past scenes kept appearing one after another, their flirtatious, shameless, shy, and scenes with deep affection. It was hard to tell where their feelings sprouted. Di Baiming finally understood what Yun Chujo meant to him at that moment, but was it still too late? Little Jiu, where are you? Chapter 390, Little Jiu was definitely not dead. Di Baiming had been digging non-stop for an entire night. And Feng looked at his venerable self, who was covered in mud, and sighed in his heart. His venerable self had a serious obsession with cleanliness. He would not even spill a drop of blood on his body when he killed someone, but he was almost a clay figurine at that moment. Sigh, Miss Jiu, where are you exactly? Didn't they say that calamities live for 1,000 years? How could you die just like that? Elder Xiao and the others also had grief on their faces. They wanted to persuade Di Baiming, but they did not know where to start. Speaking of which, Little Jiu's death was also somewhat related to them. If it was not to save them, she might not have been targeted by the heavens. And Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. Your Excellency, the voice transmission talisman. Why don't you try sending a voice transmission talisman to Miss Jiu? Di Baiming's dull eyes lit up. He took out the voice transmission talisman and said with a trembling voice, Hey, Little Jiu. Where are you? Answer me quickly. Time passed bit by bit. The sound transmission talisman was dead silent and did not respond at all. The hope in Di Baiming's eyes was destroyed bit by bit. He suddenly roared, No. She won't die. She definitely won't die. Di Baiming continued to dig the soil with his hands crazily as he spoke. Elder Chu and the rest looked at Di Baiming, who had fallen into a state of madness. They could not help but sigh. This young Master Di was extremely affectionate toward Little Jiu. Initially, they thought that he had taken a fancy to Little Nine's heavenly lightning root spirit. They were really wrong. Elder Chu's eyes suddenly lit up, and he suddenly slapped his thigh. Young Master Di, Little Jiu will definitely be fine. We were also scared silly. Other than some burnt clothes, we did not find anything else. According to common sense, the clothes had not been completely burnt, and those spirit tools should have left a trace behind. Also, that rolling pin is an immortal tool. Even if it was struck by lightning, it would not turn into ashes. At the very least, there should be some remains. Di Baiming was stunned. His thoughts were occupied by the panic and despair of losing the black thing. After hearing Elder Chu's words, he could not help but calm down. Yes, the black thing not only had the immortal rolling pin, but also the heaven and earth furnace, and the ancient divine item, the great void mirror. How could there not be any traces left behind? The black thing is definitely not dead. But where did she go? Di Baiming was like a withered tree that was slowly coming back to life. Black thing is not dead. Black thing is definitely not dead. Di Baiming's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Elder Chu is right. Black. Little Jiu is definitely not dead. I'll wait for her here. Shall definitely come back. Everyone waited for another 3 days and 3 nights by the pit, but there was still no signs of Yun Chujo. Di Baiming let Elder Chu and the others return to Spirit Radiance Sect to await for news. Every day, he would sit by the pit and talk to himself. Little Jiu, I won't call you Black Thing anymore. Come back quickly. From now on, my things will be yours. I don't care what you want anymore. Don't you like drawing me? As long as you come back, you can draw as many as you want. As long as you come back, I'll sing you a lullaby every day from now on. If you get tired of that song, I'll learn a few new ones. And Feng, who was at his side, wanted to cry and laugh at the same time. Mischievous, our revered lord has been completely subdued by you. Hurry up and show yourself. If this continues, our revered lord will definitely go crazy. Day after day passed. In the blink of an eye, nearly a month had passed. There were even fire edelweiss growing in the deep pit, but still no signs of Yunchujo. Even though the voice transmission talisman that urged Di Baiming to return to the Tianyuan continent was trembling crazily, he still stubbornly talked to himself by the side of the pit every day. He told Yunchujo his thoughts, his guilt, and his love. Chapter 391, Yunchujo woke up. Sigh, this gigolo is such a pitiful person. Furry sighed as it weaved its vest. He's pitiful. No matter how pitiful he is he as pitiful as our master? Sob sob, we don't know if our master will wake up, the rolling pin whimpered. Furry glanced at Yunchujo who was floating above the main body of the great void mirror and sighed. Yes, it has been almost a month, and master still hasn't woken up. However, master's dantian has almost been repaired by the strange grass, so she should be waking up soon. I'm suffocating here. The rolling pin said disdainfully, why didn't you suffocate for tens of thousands of years before? It's only been a month, and you're already suffocating to death. That's because I've never seen the outside world before. Without comparison, there's no way to know. While the two of them were talking, Yunchujo, who was floating above the main body of the great void mirror, was suddenly enveloped by a small purple lightning bolt. She kept making crackling sounds. Every day, our master would be struck by these small lightning bolts. Only our master's body is abnormal. If it was an ordinary person, he would have been turned into ashes long ago. Furry recalled that it actually wanted to use lightning to strike Yunchujo to death back then, and it felt really stupid. As soon as Furry finished speaking, Yunchujo suddenly opened her eyes. Her pupils actually turned purple, and after a moment, they returned back to black. Yunchujo seemed to be a little confused. Before she could react, she was violently thrown to the ground by a huge force, and it hit the muttering Furry. Oh my! I'm being killed. Ah, master. Master, you're awake. That's great. The ball of yarn cried out happily as it protected Yunchujo's arms with its two short claws. Yunchujo sighed. Ball of yarn, can you remove the vest on my face first? My beautiful long eyelashes are covered. The ball of yarn pulled off the newly woven vest swiftly. Master, are you completely recovered? Is your dantian okay? Yunchujo nodded and stood up to look around. Am I in the Great Void's mystic realm? Didn't you say that I can't enter for the time being? Yes. Normally, you can't enter. When your dantian was about to explode, I don't know what happened to the strange grass and my main body, but you were able to enter. Moreover, the heavenly thunder and the people outside didn't notice us at all. Your gigolo is outside now. He mumbles every day and I've almost memorized his words. Furry curled its lips. Furry could see the situation outside, but Yunchujo could not. She asked curiously, what did the gigolo say? How long have I been in a coma? Almost a month. The gigolo's words are so mushy. Master, let me imitate for you. The hairball put on its newly completed vest and imitated Di Baiming. Little Joe, I won't call you Black Thing anymore. Come back quickly. From now on, my things are yours. I don't care what you want anymore. Don't you like drawing? As long as you come back, you can draw as much as you want. As long as you come back, I'll sing you a lullaby every day from now on. If you get tired of that song, I'll go learn a few new ones. Yunchujo looked at the comical appearance of the ball of yarn. At first, she could not help but laugh. Then, her nose gradually turned sour. The gigolo has a proud personality, so for him to be able to say these words, it seems that he really loves me to death. Why should I be proud of myself? Why do I feel like crying? Chapter 392, How do I get out of here? Furry, tell me everything you saw. Yun Chujo sniffed and took out a meat bun to eat. It was not that she was heartless. She had not eaten in a month, so she was starving. If she did not eat something, she would probably faint from hunger. Furry wiped its saliva. Master, can you feed me something first, and then I'll talk about it? I wouldn't be able to explain well if I'm starving, right? Little Silver Dragon also flew out from the rolling pin. Master, I want a bun too. Furry swallowed 5 big buns before it began to ramble. Master, the gigolo kept calling your name countless times. It's really like the cuckoo, who after its tears were exhausted, kept weeping blood. 1. I was very touched when I heard it. He used his claws. I mean hands to dig at the soil for an entire day and night. TSK, even when his fingernails were gone, he was still digging at the soil. Later on, thankfully Old Man Chu was smart because he said that you definitely weren't dead since they couldn't find a body. The gigolo's condition improved then. However, he still sits by the pit every day and mutters the same words of things he has learned from you over and over again. It's night outside right now and he's still sitting by the pit and talking to himself. Master, I think if you don't go out now, he will probably become a lunatic. What? How can we get out? Yun Chujo wiped her tears with her sleeve and asked anxiously. Master, how did you get in? I don't even know that, let alone how to get you out. You'd better ask Strange Grass and my main body. Yun Chujo quickly injected her spiritual sense into her dantian. She could not help but be surprised that the green and shiny leaves he Strange Grass had become dim. Did your leaves become like this because you saved me? Strange Grass shook its leaves proudly, answering Yun Chujo's question. Yun Chujo realized that the Great Void Mirror, which originally occupied half of her dantian, had disappeared. This was normal, because the real body of the Great Void Mirror was now in the mystic realm. Naturally, it had left her dantian. Yun Chujo blinked her eyes. She reckoned that she would only be ejected out of the mystic realm if she let the Great Void Mirror enter her dantian again. Yun Chujo comforted the Strange Grass for a while before she withdrew from her spiritual sense and looked at the main body of the Great Void Mirror. Little mirror, thank you for saving me. Now that I'm awake, you can enter my dantian again and let me out. Yun Chujo said with a smile. The huge main body of the Great Void Mirror did not have any reaction. Yun Chujo said a bunch of nice things, but was still no reaction. Yun Chujo was furious. Oh my god. Fuck. Damn it, little mirror. Let me out. I want to go out and see my gigolo. If the gigolo is too devastated, it'll smash you into pieces. Furry said weakly, Master, try what you did last time. Drop the blood in the heart of the lotus flower. Yun Chujo recalled what happened last time and could not help but feel a lingering fear. Last time, after I dropped my blood, it almost sucked me dry and into a mummy. Wouldn't it happen again? But Master, if you don't do that, you won't be able to get out. Furry spread out its 2 small claws and said helplessly. Yun Chujo gritted her teeth. She had no choice. Hence, she bit her index finger and dropped her blood into the heart of the lotus flower on the Great Void Mirror. Fortunately, nothing like what happened last time happened. With a flash of white light, the Great Void Mirror suddenly shrunk and hid between Yun Chujo's brows. Yun Chujo felt a wave of dizziness. Chapter 393, Becoming a Master. Beiming sat by the pit as usual. Little Joe, where are you? As long as you come back safely, I'll listen to you from now on. I'll never yell at you again, and I'll never call you Black Thing again. Prince Charming, I heard everything. You're not allowed to go back on your words. Beiming was stunned, and then he asked in disbelief while slightly trembling, Black. Little Joe, is that you? Little Joe, where are you? I'm here. I'm here. I'm in the pit below. Quickly come down and carry me up. Di Baiming stood up and pinched himself. It was not an illusion, it was real. Black Thing really was not dead. She was really back. Before Di Baiming jumped into the pit as a figure flew up from the chopping board, "Prince Charming, what are you doing? Come on, give me a kiss." Di Baiming was caught off guard and fell to the ground. Then, he was kissed by Yun Chuzhou. Di Baiming was so happy that he almost fainted. The Black Thing was really not dead. She was still alive. She was still alive. That was great. And Feng could not bear to look at them. He took the initiative to run 2 miles away to stand guard for the two of them. Is it really good for the two of you to torture me like this? It's really too immoral. The two of them lingered for a long while. Di Baiming held Yun Chuzhou tightly in his arms. He felt that everything was like a dream. He did not even dare to close his eyes, afraid that if he opened them again, everything would be shattered. Yun Chuzhou looked at the haggard Di Baiming, and her heart felt very bitter. She smiled and pointed at the moon and said, "Prince Charming, look at the moon in the sky. I hope that we'll be together for a long time. In the future, even if I'm not by your side, we'll still live under the same sky. You have to believe that I'll definitely live. I won't die so easily. Next time, don't torture yourself like this, understand?" Di Baiming nodded. "As long as you're alive, it's fine. Whatever you say is fine." Yun Chuzhou felt that he was probably physically deprived. Otherwise, why would this previously cold gigolo be so submissive? She found it very strange. "Prince Charming, let's go back to Spirit Radiance sect. My brothers and sisters must be very worried about me." Di Baiming nodded and took out his flying spirit tool. After the two of them went up, they headed in the direction of Spirit Radiance sect. And Feng was in a mess. This was too much. "It's fine if the two of you were abusing me, but you can't just leave me alone." And Feng had no choice but to take out his flying spirit tool and tail them. In the first few days, Di Baiming was like a 24 filial exemplars, 1, boyfriend. No matter what Yun Chuzhou asked, he would satisfy all of them. Yun Chuzhou had never known what it meant to be reserved. She had cheated Di Baiming of countless spirit stones and food. Then, she asked Di Baiming to massage her legs and shoulders. Singing a lullaby was a trivial matter. Yun Chuzhou was a little too proud. She leaned on the recliner and ate the spirit fruits that Di Baiming had cut into small pieces. Then, she took out the stack of notebooks that she had bought earlier and took a liking to them. Di Baiming did not pay much attention to them at the beginning. When he saw the words on the cover of the books, he immediately exploded. "Me and my 3,000 beautiful male cultivation furnaces, my 81 male pets, my beautiful male harem. Black Thing. You're actually reading such books. Are you trying to be rebellious? What does this mean? It's not enough for you to have me, but you actually want to find someone else?" Yun Chuzhou was so scared that she jumped down from the recliner and said guiltily, "I'm just looking to relieve my boredom. I don't have any other intentions. My Prince Charming, I was really just looking." She responded reflexively and had totally forgotten that she had become the master. Chapter 394. Two troublesome ancestors, you had no other intentions? 3,000 cultivation furnaces. 81 male lovers. Beautiful male harem. No other intentions. Black Thing, you've disappointed me too much. I'll destroy all these books now, and I will not allow you to read these nonsense anymore. Di Baiming picked up the stack of books and was about to destroy it. Yun Chuzhou quickly hugged Di Baiming's arm and snatched the book from his hand. "Prince Charming, stop. Show me mercy. Stop." Di Baiming saw Yun Chuzhou trying to snatch it and became even angrier. He swung his arm and pushed Yun Chuzhou away. In the blink of an eye, the stack of books turned into ashes. Yun Chuzhou was pushed to the ground and was stunned at first. Then, she also became angry. What's wrong with me just reading them? Does it mean that I will do it? Brother Wuji said that you're choosing a consort. Then did you choose one? And how dare you push me? Didn't you say that you would listen to me no matter what? What nonsense are you talking about? Di Biming initially felt a little guilty when he saw Yun Chuzhou fall. However, when he heard Yun Chuzhou say that, he was so angry that he trembled. Good, very good. Black thing, you're just twisting logic. Just because I said I'll do as you desire doesn't mean that I have to watch you two-timing me. I'm two-timing you. Who am I two-timing on you with? You're the one who's petty. How dare you accuse me? You have to compensate me for my books. Otherwise, we're done. Yun Chujia's little face was red with anger. This gigolo is really too overbearing. If he didn't want me to read it, he could have just said it properly. Why did he destroy my books? Compensate you for your books? You're delusional. I want to see how you're going to end things with me. Di Biming snorted coldly. He felt that Yun Chuzhou was simply unreasonable. It's clearly her fault. She was reading those dirty books and yet she thinks it's reasonable. That's really disappointing. Fine. You're not going to compensate me, are you? Open the hatch and I'll go back to Spirit Radiance sect myself. I can't be bothered with you. Yun Chuzhou said angrily. Yun Chuzhou thought that if she said that, Di Biming would definitely give in. Who would have thought that a certain someone with an extremely low EQ actually opened the hatch? Yun Chuzhou was so angry that she almost hit the wall. There was no way out, so she could only take out the chopping board. She pretended to sit on the chopping board and shouted, HMPH. My open-air chopping board is much better than your broken flying spiritual tool. Don't try to follow me if you can. Di Biming was so angry that his eyes were red. Follow you? I would only follow you if I was crazy. Di Biming's flying spirit tool turned around and flew away quickly. Soon, only a little black dot could be seen. And Feng, who was following behind, was dumbfounded. What happened? Why didn't Miss Jiu get on the flying spirit tool, and instead, went on the chopping board? And Feng poked his head out from the flying spirit tool and asked, Miss Jiu, where did our honored one go? Yun Chuzhou said angrily, he went back to choose his consort. Don't follow me, go find that arrogant, arbitrary, and untrustworthy gigolo of yours. After saying that, Yun Chuzhou commanded the chopping board to fly away quickly. And Feng felt tens of thousands of divine beasts whizzing past his heart. Your Majesty. Who was the one crying and shouting a few days ago, saying that as long as Miss Jiu returned, everything would go according to her wishes? How can you be angered in just a few days? Moreover, even if you had a conflict, we can't just abandon Miss Jiu, right? Your Majesty, it's not that I'm criticizing you, but with your EQ, you'll never be able to marry a wife in your lifetime. Also, Miss Jiu, you can't be this nonchalant. Our Excellency almost went crazy for you a few days ago. Can't you just go along with him a little? Wouldn't it have been fine the way it was before? As long as we go along with him, everything can be discussed, but why do you just have to go against him? These two ancestors are too troublesome. What should I do now? And Feng thought for a moment and decided to follow Yun Chuzhou. After all, my mission is to protect Miss Jiu. Perhaps your Excellency will come back on his own after his anger has subsided. Miss Jiu, I'll send you back to Spirit Radiance sect. Although your chopping board isn't slow, it's windy and rainy. It's more convenient with this flying spirit tool, right? And Feng caught up with Yun Chuzhou and said ingratiatingly. Chapter 395, The Proud Supreme Emperor, So what if it's windy or rainy? I'll use my spiritual energy barrier. Anyway, I have a lot of spiritual artifacts on me. Yun Chuzhou said angrily. And Feng choked. Just as he was about to continue to persuade her, Yun Chuzhou said, however, since you're so sincere, I'll reluctantly sit on your flying spirit tool. And Feng was speechless. After Yun Chujiu got on the flying spirit tool, and Feng asked tentatively, Miss Jiu, did you quarrel with our honorable lord? Humph. He's obviously the one who is looking for trouble. Otherwise, why would a reasonable person like me quarrel with him? He actually destroyed my books and even pushed me down. He's really unreasonable. Yun Chujiu said angrily. And Feng cursed in his heart when he heard that. He knew that her words would cause trouble sooner or later. With their lord's temper, it would be strange if he was not angry. However, he was indeed a little rough. Ahem. Miss Jiu, you know our lord's temper. He's angry because he cares about you. When we didn't whether you were dead or alive, our lord almost committed suicide to die for love. Our lord treated you sincerely, so please bear with him. And Feng said cautiously. That's one thing, but what happened today was his fault. He dared to push me, so maybe he'll domestically abuse me in the future. Besides, I was the one who coaxed him before, so why can't he coax me? Nitpicky, unfriendly, arrogant, and shameless. Yun Chujiu said with her cheeks puffed up. And Feng secretly ticked, nitpicky, unfriendly, and arrogant, in his heart. What she said was absolutely right. Their revered one was the famous nitpicky person in the Tianyuan continent. Yun Chujiu's anger came and went quickly. After cursing the gigolo more than 100 times in her heart, she had a little bit of regret. Although the gigolo gave her a lot of problems, he was sincere to her. Besides, the books she read were indeed not very elegant. However, this tsundere had issues too. He left without her and lacked discipline. She did not believe that he would not come back and apologize to her. Humph. On the other side, Di Biming flew dozens of miles away in anger. After he calmed down, he also felt a little regretful. However, he felt that her words were wrong. Why should he go back and apologize? After thinking for a while, he was still worried, so he took out the voice transmission talisman for Enfeng. Enfeng, follow Black Thing secretly. I'll go back to the Tianyuan continent to deal with things. After receiving Di Biming's voice transmission talisman, Enfeng could not help but twitch his lips. He was worried about Miss Jiu, so why did he not send her a voice transmission talisman directly? No wonder Miss Jiu said that His Majesty was arrogant. He really was arrogant. Yun Chujiu had never mistreated herself. Love was only a part of life, not everything. She would never punish herself for the mistakes of the gigolo. She should eat, drink, and draw with charcoal when she had nothing to do. Enfeng glanced at it unintentionally and immediately staggered in fright. Oh my God! The Miss Jiu actually drew His Majesty. Cough cough. Naked. Enfeng, where are we now? Yun Chujiu asked casually after she finished drawing. Miss Jiu, below is Changsha City, Enfeng said as he looked at the map. Yun Chujiu's eyes flashed. Changsha City. If I remember correctly, Spirit Radiance Sect is to the east of Changsha City, and the Heavenly Gates Sect is to the west of Spirit Radiance Sect. If it weren't for them causing trouble for nothing, I wouldn't have been struck by lightning and wouldn't have quarreled with Gigolo. Enfeng, turn around. Let's go to Heavenly Gates Sect. Chapter 396, We're going to borrow something, Miss Jiu. Why are we going to the Heavenly Gates Sect? They're one of the 4 great sections. Not to mention that there's only 2 of us, even if there were 10 of us, we wouldn't be able to defeat them. Enfeng's face was filled with despair. Miss Jiu, please stop. That fire dragon from before almost took my life. We're not going to fight. What's there to be afraid of? Not going to fight. Then what are we going to do? Are we going to scold people? Miss Jiu, we can't just scold people. If we anger the Heavenly Gates Sect, we'll still end up fighting. Enfeng was very confident about Yun Chujiu's ability to cause trouble. He believed it without a doubt. Even the Heavenly Thunder could be angered by her, not to mention the people from the Heavenly Gates Sect. Why do you want to scold them? Let's go to the Heavenly Gates sect to get something good. Yun Chujo smiled like a little fox, akin to foxes with 9 tails. Get something? Get what? And Feng curled his lips. She said it nicely, but I'm sure she meant to steal something. You'll know when the time comes. When we're almost there, we don't need to use the flying spirit tool. Well, walk over to avoid attracting attention, Yun Chujo said slyly. And Feng could only agree with a bitter face. God, please bless me. I hope I won't lose my life. No matter how I think about it, I feel that Miss Jo is going to cause a big trouble. And Feng, change into this set of clothes. Yun Chujo handed and Feng a set of clothes for the disciples of the Heavenly Gates sect. She also changed into a set of clothes and groomed her hair into a man's hairstyle. The effect of the hair growth pill from the gigolo was pretty good. Her newly grown hair was black and shiny. Miss Jo, where did you get this set of clothes? And Feng asked curiously. They were in the storage bags that we robbed. Don't worry, these 2 sets are new and no one has worn them before. Yun Chujo took out a layout map of the Heavenly Gates sect, pointed at one of the locations, and said, this is our target. If there is no one above the 5th level of the Spirit Emperor realm, well, use the concealment talisman to go in. If there are those above that level, you'll be responsible for drawing them away. I'll use the concealment talisman to go in. And Feng looked at the layout map and cursed in his heart. This was definitely spoils of war, and Feng saw where Yun Chujo was pointing and could not help but ask curiously, Miss Jo, why are we going to the back mountain of the Heavenly Gates sect? Are there any treasures there? Doesn't the Heavenly Gates sect always think that they're awesome because they have earth fire? I will go and kidnap their fire spirit beast and see how arrogant they will be in the future. When the time comes, if they want to buy my earth fire, I'll exploit them as much as I can. Yun Chujo said proudly. And Feng was stunned at first, then he lit a candle for the Heavenly Gates sect members. The sect had offended Miss Jo, so it seemed like they were going to pay for it. With her around, sooner or later, the Heavenly Gates sect would become poor. And Feng did not doubt whether Yun Chujo could successfully kidnap the fire spirit beast. The answer was obvious. She could successfully kidnap all 8 of them, so one would be easy. The 2 of them found a quiet place and got off the flying spirit tool. They did not use the concealment talisman. Based on their spiritual power level, it was not a problem for them to avoid the patrols outside the Heavenly Gates sect. Even if they were discovered, it would be easy for them to hide because they were wearing the sect's uniform. After all, Heavenly Gates sect had tens of thousands of people. It was impossible for them to know each other. The 2 of them successfully arrived at the back of the mountain. As expected, the temperature started to rise. From afar, they could see many disciples patrolling. The 2 of them stuck on the concealment talismans and carefully approached Heavenly Gates sect's earth fire cave. Chapter 397, The Fire Spirit Beast That Ran Away From Home. Brothers, after this round of inspection, let's go back and rest. This earth fire cave can fucking roast a person to death. Other than the elders who regularly come to retrieve the earth fire, who can withstand the high temperature inside? That's right. The sect wants us to patrol once every half an hour. It's simply a waste of manpower. Who can steal the earth fire? I heard that we developed bad blood with Spirit Radiance sect recently. Our sect leader has already cut off their earth fire supply. Who knows? Maybe Spirit Radiance sect's people will come and steal the fire spirit beast. Ha! Senior Brother Lu, don't joke around. Forget about whether they can sneak into the earth fire cave under our noses. Even if they can, the cave is filled with earth fire, so they can't go too far in. Moreover, our sect hasn't seen the true appearance of that fire spirit beast for so many years. It's useless for them to come. That makes sense. TSK, Spirit Radiance sect is really stubborn. They didn't agree to our conditions. They can't hold on much longer. I heard that they recently bought some earth fire from the Bishao Palace and the Immortal Sword sect. Our sect master was extremely dissatisfied, so he went to Spirit Radiance sect today. I heard that the sect masters of the two other sects will also be there. When the time comes, our sect master will definitely pressure the other two sects and not let them sell the earth fire to Spirit Radiance sect. At that time, we won't be afraid that Spirit Radiance sect won't comply. The patrolling people casually chatted while pretending to patrol the area. Then, they returned to the shelter that they built to drink and play cards. Yun Chuzhou and Enfeng exchanged a look, and the two of them quickly entered the underground fire cave. After walking for a while, a sea of fire appeared in front of them. However, this sea of fire was much smaller than the one in the fire cave. With that being said, this underground fire cave was relatively narrow. Although it was small, the distance was long, so it was still difficult for people to pass through. Enfeng took out the isolation array plate and activated the isolation array. After that, Yun Chuzhou released an adult fire spirit beast. Number 3, go and catch that prodigal old man who ran away from home. The fire spirit beast squeaked and jumped into the sea of fire with a whoosh. Number 3. Miss Joe's naming skills isn't as good as before. However, what did the prodigal old man mean? Before Enfeng could ask, Yun Chuzhou took the initiative to explain. The fire spirit beast of Heavenly Gates sect wanted to run away from home after a quarrel with number 3. However, it was caught by the sect. Oh right, number 3 is female, while the one from the sect is male. He's as arrogant as a gigolo. Humph. Enfeng shrunk his neck and did not dare to make a sound. He cursed in his heart, Miss Joe, while you're scolding our lord, you seem to be talking about yourself too. He did not know how the two beasts communicated with each other. After 15 minutes, number 3 came out of the sea of fire with a fire spirit beast. It was slightly bigger than number 3, and its fur was even more colorful. However, at that moment, it was drooping its head. Number 3 kept slapping its head with its claws. Yun Chuzhou coughed dryly, number 3. You should really be gentler. If you're so violent, you might slap it away and make it run away from home again. Number 3 seemed to be a little embarrassed after hearing Yun Chuzhou's words, and she finally stopped attacking the beast with her claws. Number 4, your wife and clansmen have signed an equal contract with me now. Are you going to sign it or not? Yun Chuzhou asked with a smile. Enfeng pursed his lips. You've already given it a name, yet you're still pretending to ask it if it's going to sign it. Aren't you being too hypocritical? Number 4 was just hesitating when number 3's claw arrived. Damn it! What are you still hesitating for? You son of a bitch who abandoned his wife. If you don't recognize her as your master, I'll slap you to death. Of course, Yun Chuzhou understood what happened on her own. After all, number 3 was only making a move and did not say anything. Chapter 398, There were too many bad things. Number 4 had been a single beast for thousands of years. Now, he was willing to endure number 3's domestic violence and was eager to acknowledge her as his master. We can't do the acknowledgement now. I'm afraid that if we make too much of a commotion, we'll attract heavenly thunder and be in trouble. Go into the spirit beast pouch first. Well, do it when we return to Spirit Radiance sect. Yun Chuzhou said after thinking for a moment. Fire spirit beast number 1, 2, and 3 were all dumbfounded. Master, didn't you say that only spirit beasts that acknowledge their master can enter the spirit beast pouch? You lied to us. You're such a bad silver. However, the raw rice has already been cooked. Moreover, we've eaten our fill every day. So be it if you want to lie to us. Sob sob, this black-hearted master. As for the 5 small ones, they did not have any objections. They ate well and played well. Who cares if they lied to us or not? When they heard that the Spirit Radiance sect was even more fun, they were just waiting to go have fun. Number 3, Do you fire spirit beasts have any way to quickly extinguish the earth fire? Yun Chujo looked at the earth fire that was burning fiercely. She rolled her eyes and evil thoughts rose up in her mind. Who told you Heavenly Gates sect to show off? It'll cut off your roots in an instant and leave you with no earth fire to use. Number 3 nodded. Master, after we form a seal, we can quickly extinguish the earth fire. Yun Chujo touched her chin. Let's do it right away. It'll give you more food in a while. Extinguish all the earth fire. Don't leave a single piece. Number 3 squeaked a few times, and the 4 big fire spirit beasts began to stand up and form a seal with their 2 front claws. The earth fire began to visibly extinguish. After a quarter of an hour, the huge sea of earth fire was completely extinguished. Yun Chujo put the fire spirit beasts into her spirit beast pouch in satisfaction and waved her hand at Enfong. It's done. Let's go. Back to Spirit Radiance sect. It just so happens that those old bitches from Heavenly Gates sect are also here, so I'll go scam them. Enfong silently made a decision in his heart. Even if he had to offend His Majesty, he must never offend Miss Jo. She had too many schemes. One could imagine how the people of the Heavenly Gates sect would be furious when they discovered that not only had their fire spirit beasts been stolen, but the earth fire had also been extinguished. The 2 of them left the sphere of influence of the sect before the concealment talisman failed. They boarded their flying spirit tools and rushed to Spirit Radiance sect. Finally, one of the disciples guarding the earth fire cave noticed something amiss. Have you noticed? Why does it feel a little strange? At first, the crowd did not think much of it, but the temperature was dropping more and more obviously. They were all shirtless and sweating, but now it was actually a little cold. I'll go take a look. You guys keep drinking. The disciple who noticed the abnormality at the beginning left the house and went straight to the earth fire cave. A moment later, the disciple's howl was heard. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. The earth fire has been extinguished. The disciples in the room scrambled inside and found that the earth fire had been extinguished. Not a single piece of it was left. It had completely been extinguished. The elders of the Heavenly Gates sect soon received the news. They tragically discovered that not only had the earth fire been extinguished, but they had also searched the cave hundreds of times and still had not found any traces of the fire spirit beast. Everyone was on the verge of collapse. For thousands of years, the Heavenly Gates sect had relied on this fire spirit beast to earn countless spirit stones. They even relied on it to blackmail the other powers. Now, not only had the earth fire been extinguished, but the money tree had also disappeared. After some discussion, they sent 2 elders to immediately take a flying spirit tool to deliver a letter to sect leader Dugai. Sect leader, don't even think about using the earth fire to blackmail others. Our earth fire is fucking gone. Chapter 399, Little Jiu is back. Yun Chujo asked Enfong to accelerate at full speed. Enfong's flying spirit tool was much more advanced than that of Heavenly Gates sect. In addition, they set off after Yun Chujo, so they were at least 6 hours behind. Enfong, I'll be here. Go back and tell the gigolo that if he doesn't come and apologize to me, I won't forgive him. Yun Chujo raised her neck and said proudly. Miss Jo, I understand. Please take care of yourself. I'm leaving. Enfong smiled bitterly. Why should I leave? I still have to protect you in secret. Yun Chujo nodded and got down from the flying spirit tool. She hopped toward the mountain gate of Spirit Radiance sect. The few disciples guarding the gate immediately recognized Yun Chujo. Junior sister Yun, you really didn't die. That's great. We said that you'd definitely be fine. The disciple guarding the gate and Yun Chujo were the same batch of disciples who entered the sect. They were very impressed by Yun Chujo's heroic move during the Mystic Realm trial. Moreover, Yun Chujo was now a successor disciple, so everyone naturally had good intentions toward her. Yun Chujo smiled sweetly at everyone. Thank you for your concern, senior brothers. I have something important too as the sect leader. I'll chat with you guys another day. A disciple looked at Yun Chujia's bouncing silhouette and said, I just realized that junior sister Yun is actually very beautiful. Especially when she smiles, I feel like my heart is about to jump out. Yeah, I remember that junior sister Yun was dark and skinny, but how come she has become so beautiful now? And she has also grown a lot taller. Sigh, I heard that junior sister Yun has hooked up with some young Master D. The backing behind that guy is astonishing. I guess he gave junior sister Yun some beauty pills or something. Yun Chujia's spiritual power was much higher than theirs. Hearing their words, she could not help but twitch her lips. I'm a natural beauty. What does this have to do with the gigolo? Yun Chujo felt that her walking speed was too slow, so she sat on the chopping board and staggered to the outside of the living room. Master! Master! Little Jiu is back. Yun Chujo shouted loudly before she entered the living room. The people in the room had high spiritual power, so they had long noticed that someone was coming. When they saw the little girl who jumped in, they were happy and angry, yet curious and inquisitive. Master Xianyuan and the others were naturally surprised and happy. If Elder Chu had not been worried about her, he would have rushed up and hugged Yun Chujo and cried. As there were outsiders present, it was not convenient for them to ask. Master Xianyuan coughed and said, Yun Chujo, although you've returned safely and are very happy, you should not be so unruly. Don't you see that there are guests here? Everyone, this is the true disciple of Elder Sun Buzhong, Yun Chujo. She went out to train a month ago, but she actually got lost. She's young, and her spiritual power is low. Her master has also been in secluded cultivation. As elders, we naturally pamper her a little. We aren't that strict with her, Master Tsuanyuan explained. However, he did not ask Yun Chujo to greet the three of them. What a joke! She was Spirit Radiant Sect's little ancestor. It was considered a favor that he did not make them greet each other. Yun Chujo blinked her eyes and glanced at the three people sitting at the head of the guest seat. Other than the sect leader of Heavenly Gates sect, Du Gai, there was also a middle-aged woman with a cold appearance and a Taoist priest with a sage-like demeanor. They must be Fairy Yume from Bixiao Palace and Taoist priest Jinni from Immortal Sword sect. Yun Chujo smiled at the three of them innocently and sweetly. Greetings, sect leaders. It's been a long time since we last met, sect leader Du. That Scarlet Dawn silk that you gave me as a greeting gift has helped me a lot. After saying that, Yun Chujo looked at Fairy Yume and Taoist Jinni with a smile. Chapter 400, Was Yun Chujo crazy? Fairy Yume and Taoist Jinni were a little scared by Yun Chujia's gaze. However, they were all old people and immediately understood what Yun Chujo meant. This little girl was asking for a greeting gift from them. Master Xianyuan smiled and said, This child is really sentimental. Last time, Sect Master Du gave her a middle-grade spirit tool as a greeting gift, and now she always talks about it. Fairy Yume and Taoist Jinni were so angry that they were twitching. You old geezer, you're indirectly telling us that we have to give at least a middle-grade spirit tool in order to not undervalue ourselves. What an old fox. Their identities were made known. For the sake of the sect's dignity, they gritted their teeth and each gave Yun Chujo a middle-grade spirit tool. Thank you, sect masters. I'm really sorry for making you spend so much on our first meeting. Yun Chujo said politely, but she quickly put the two spirit tools into her storage ring, afraid that they would go back on their words. Fairy Yume and Taoist Jinni said to Master Xianyuan with a fake smile, Master Xianyuan, I don't think this Yun Chujo is like Sun Buzhong, but she's very similar to you. Master Xianyuan said with a smile, Little Jiu and I hit it off quite well. We're both people who value relationships. Fairy Yume and Taoist Jinni were speechless. This old fellow's skin was getting thicker and thicker. Although he was cunning in the past, his skin did not seem that thick. Why had he become so shameless in the past year? Yun Chuzhou made a small fortune and jumped behind Elder Chu. Elder Chu turned his head and his eyes were about to twitch. Yun Chuzhou understood what he meant and said with a smile, "Elder Chu, don't worry. The things you asked me to take care of is done." When Elder Chu heard that, he immediately beamed with joy. "Good. Very good, you are so reliable. Sect Master, little Jiao has returned. It's really a joyous occasion." Master Xianyuan naturally understood what Elder Chu meant. It seemed that Yun Chuzhou had brought back the fire spirit beasts. "Du Gai, in the future, our spirit radiance sect will no longer be under your control. Fairy Yumei, Taoist priest Jinni, let's return to the main topic. Our Heavenly Gates sect can let bygones be bygones, but from now on, your earth fire is not allowed to be sold to Spirit Radiance sect. Otherwise, we will cut off your supple of earth fire." Du Gai's attitude could be said to be very impolite. However, in Qingxian continent, only their sect possessed the earth fire. Even if one was dissatisfied, what could one do? Although Fairy Yumei and Taoist Jinni were indignant, they could only nod and agree for the sake of their own sect. Du Gai saw the situation and looked at Master Xianyuan with a fake smile. "Master Xianyuan, now that Yun Chuzhou has returned, does Spirit Radiance sect still not agree to our conditions?" Master Xianyuan was about to refuse when Yun Chuzhou raised her little claws and said, "Master Xianyuan, can I express my opinion?" Master Xianyuan nodded. "Sure, go ahead." Fairy Yumei and Taoist Jinni looked at each other. This Yun Chuzhou was really favored. Under normal circumstances, how could a small successor disciple have the right to speak in this kind of situation? Yun Chuzhou said with a serious face, "Master Xianyuan, I think our sect should give away 1/10 of the spirit stones." Yun Chuzhiu's words immediately caused a huge commotion among the crowd. Everyone from Spirit Radiance sect was dumbfounded. Is Yun Chuzhou crazy? You have 8 fire spirit beasts in your spirit beast pouch. Why would you agree to their conditions? Chapter 401, What if the Heavenly Gates sect could not fulfill their promise? Master Xianyuan only frowned slightly. "Oh. Tell me the reason." "Master, earth fire is very important. Otherwise, why would Fairy Yumei and Taoist priest Jinni abandon the friendship between our 3 sects and submit to the tyranny of the Heavenly Gates sect?" Du Gai snorted coldly and suppressed his displeasure, waiting for Yun Chuzhou to continue. Fairy Yumei and Taoist Zenius expressions looked unnatural. This little girl's words are really unpleasant to hear, but Heavenly Gates sect are a little too arrogant. Without the earth fire, refining weapons and pills will be restricted, so we can only bear with the pain and give up our precious share of spirit stones to exchange for the earth fire. Sect Master, we can't delay the sect's advancement just because of a momentary impulse. Please think twice. Yun Chuzhou said with incomparable pain. It was as if they did not agree to Heavenly Gates sect, Spirit Radiance sect would be exterminated. Yun Chuzhou gave Elder Chu a look. Elder Chu thought to himself, this little Jiao has always been crafty and resourceful. She must have her reasons for doing this. Therefore, Elder Chu also quickly said, Sect Master, what little Jiao said makes sense. The earth fire has been cut off for a month, and whether it's refining pills or refining weapons, it has been greatly affected. We should agree to Heavenly Gates sect's conditions. A few of the elders who were quick-witted heard Elder Chu's words, and in view of Yun Chuzhi's character of seizing opportunities, everyone felt that there must be something fishy going on, so they all started to assist. Sect leader, Little Jiao and Elder Chu's words make sense. The earth fire can't be cut off. Transferring 1/10 of the spirit stones will not have much of an impact on Spirit Radiance sect, but we absolutely cannot do without earth fire. That's right, sect leader. We can earn spirit stones through other channels, but only Heavenly Gates sect has earth fire. I also agree with Little Jiao's words. Let's accept Heavenly Gates sect's conditions. Fairy Yumei and Taoist priest Jinni were dumbfounded. Before this little girl returned, these people from Spirit Radiance sect did not express this. They would rather not use the earth fire than agree to Heavenly Gate's sex conditions. Why was it that this little girl uttered a few words, and suddenly everyone had a change of mind? Did this little girl's words carry so much weight? Master Xianyuan seemed to be in a difficult position. What you said makes sense, but the share of spirit stones is also very important. Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes. Master Xianyuan, as the saying goes, one who is not prepared to risk his child will never catch the wolf. There's no way to get the best of both worlds. Achieving balance between the two is more important than the earth fire. Master Xianyuan gritted his teeth and said, "All right, since both of you are inclined to buy the earth fire, then I agree to use 1/10 of the spirit stones to buy earth fire." Master Xianyuan thought to himself, "Little ancestor, you better not screw this up, or else we will end up losing everything." Since that's the case, Master Xianyuan, let's sign the contract. Fairy Yumei and Daoist Jinni will be the witnesses. Du Gai was very pleased when he heard Master Xianyuan say that. This time, I'll get 1/10 of your spirit stones. Next time, I'll get 1/5 of Master Xuanyuan's spirit stones. Sooner or later, our Heavenly Gates sect would unify Qingxian. Du Gai took out the contract that he had prepared long ago and gestured for Master Xianyuan to sign it and seal it with Spirit Radiance sect's official seal. Yun Chujiu hopped to the front of Master Xianyuan and glanced at the contract a few times. Then, she curled her lips and pointed out a couple things. "Master Du Gai, this contract can't only be binding Spirit Radiance sect, right? What if Heavenly Gates sect can't fulfill the contract? For example, what if you can't provide enough earth fire?" Chapter 402, Do You Dare to Accept? Du Gai sneered again and again. What a joke. For thousands of years, the earth fire supply our sect has always been of high quality and quantity. When has there ever been an oversight? It's better to be safe than sorry. Since you think there wouldn't be a problem, then what's the harm in adding one more clause? Yun Chujiu said with a smile. What do you want to add? Du Gai snorted coldly. Well, it's very simple. If Heavenly Gates sect is unable to provide sufficient earth fire according to the contract, then not only will your sect have to return our share of spirit stones, you will also have to compensate us with an additional 1/10 of our sect's share of spirit stones. Do you dare to accept? Yun Chujiu crossed her arms, her legs were shaking, and her face was full of arrogance. Outrageous. Our Heavenly Gates sect has never signed such an earth fire contract before. Du Gai slammed the table and said unhappily. TSK, the agreement Heavenly Gates sect prepared is a hegemonic one. If your Heavenly Gates sect is unable to supply earth fire, wouldn't we be at a huge loss? Besides, the previous contract was just to buy earth fire with spirit stones. Right now, we're giving away 1/10 of our share of spirit stones. Sect leader, if he doesn't agree, we won't sign the contract. At most, we'll go out and buy medicinal pills and spirit tools in the future. What's the big deal about that? Don't tell me 1/10 of our share of spirit stones isn't enough to buy medicinal pills and spirit tools. This is really infuriating. It's making me so angry that I'm hungry. After Yun Chujiu finished speaking, she hopped back behind Elder Chu, took out a spirit fruit, and started munching on it. Master Xianyuan frowned. Yun Chujiu is right. Heavenly Gates sect is too unreasonable. If you don't agree to add this clause, then let's forget about this matter. The sect hasn't reached the point that we have to disband it just because we don't have earth fire. Du Gai's expression changed a few times. He looked at the few elders of Heavenly Gates sect who were sitting behind him and exchanged glances with them. Du Gai then said, "All right, there's no harm in adding this clause. Our sect's earth fire hasn't had any problems for thousands of years. I don't believe that will be any different this time." After adding this clause to the contract, Master Xianyuan and Du Gai signed their names and stamped the official seals of both sects on it. Fairy Yumei and Daoist Jinni also signed their names as witnesses. The contract was considered to be effective. Du Gai said proudly, Master Xianyuan, since the contract is already effective, then Spirit Radiance Sect should hurry and send someone to the Spirit Stone Mine with us to hand it over. Master Du, why are you in such a hurry? We have guests from afar. I've prepared a banquet, and I hope everyone will come. Master Xianyuan was truly uncertain. Little Nine, what exactly are you planning? The earth fire from Heavenly Gates sect hasn't wavered for thousands of years. Could something really happen? In that case, it'll have to trouble you. As long as the transaction of the Spirit Stone Mine is completed, he'll give the order to restore the supply of earth fire to Spirit Radiance Sect. Du Gai was feeling extremely at ease at that moment. The previous generations of sect masters did not have my boldness and were always cautious. The Heavenly Gates sect would definitely flourish in my hands. At the banquet, Du Gai was very proud. Fairy Yumei and Daoist Jinny frowned slightly. The Heavenly Gates sect had taken advantage of Spirit Radiance sect. It's inevitable for them to attack us in the future. We should be more cautious when we go back. The people from Spirit Radiance sect ate unenthusiastically. They were a little uncertain. Will little Jiu fail this time? If they miscalculated, it would be so embarrassing. They had 8 fire spirit beasts. If they used 1/10 of their spirit stones to buy earth fire, their heads would be kicked by spirit beasts. Chapter 403, Something monumental happened. Yun Chuzhou, on the other hand, was enjoying her meal. Originally, those who attended the banquet were all elders, so Yun Chuzhou had nothing to do with it. This shameless girl decided to follow them. Then, she even sat at the table with Master Xianyuan and the others. Although Du Gai hated this little girl to death, it was all thanks to her words that he was able to succeed this time, so he did not say anything. Fairy Yumei and Daoist Jinny frowned. Spirit Radiance sect was too unruly. A mere successor disciple was actually on equal footing with them. However, the two of them had a deep sense of self-restraint. Although they were dissatisfied, they did not say anything. Master Xianyuan cried out bitterly in his heart. This is Spirit Radiance sect's little ancestor. If she was not qualified to sit here, no one would be. Yun Chuzhou saw a roast chicken on the table. She was not shy and courteous at all and broke off a drumstick and started eating. Du Gai had a look of disdain. Little girl, how many days have you not eaten? Could it be that Spirit Radiance sect is this poor? You can't even feed your disciples. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, didn't I just come back? I just did some physical work, so I'm really hungry. Please forgive me. Master Du, I advise you to eat more. The world is unpredictable, and you might not be in the mood to eat later. Du Gai snorted coldly. I've always been open-minded, so how could I let small matters affect my mood? Yun Chuzhou nodded, yeah, I admire big-hearted people like you. I hope that sect Master Du will always maintain this. Fairy Yumei and Daoist Jinny looked at each other. This Yun Chuzhou spoke without any scruples, and Master Xianyuan does not try to stop her. The rest of the Spirit Radiance sect also had a conniving attitude. Could it be that Yun Chuzhou and Master Xianyuan were related by blood? Could she be Master Xuanyuan's illegitimate? Master Xianyuan frowned. Could it be that Yumei and Zenya's eyes were cramping? Why did they look at me with such a strange gaze? At that moment, a disciple of Spirit Radiance sect came in to report, Sect Leader, Elder Nyo and Elder Ma of Heavenly Gates sect requests to see you. They say that they have something important to report to Sect Leader Du Gai. Du Gai's heart inexplicably trembled. Something big must have happened. Otherwise, they would not have traveled all the way to Spirit Radiance sect. Master Xianyuan signaled the disciple who had reported to him to invite Elder Nyo and Elder Ma in. A moment later, 2 elders dressed in Heavenly Gates sect's elder attire walked in with solemn expressions. After the 2 of them greeted each other, they said to Du Gai, Sect Master, we have something important to report. Please excuse us for a moment. When sect master Du Gai saw their expressions, a strong sense of unease welled up in his heart. He immediately went outside with the two of them. After opening the isolation array, he asked, "What happened?" Elder Nyo and Elder Ma were on the verge of tears. "Sect master, something monumental happened. Not only has the earth fire in the earth fire cave been extinguished, even that fire spirit beast has disappeared without a trace." Du Gai only felt a buzzing sound in his head as he grabbed Elder Ma's clothes. "What did you say?" "Say it again." Elder Ma repeated the matter with a bitter expression. "Sect master, the matter has already happened. We should hurry up and make up for it. Since the sect masters of Bixiao Palace and Immortal Sword Sect are both here, let's take this opportunity to cancel the contract. Anyway, the contract doesn't have a clause that says that we have to pay compensation if we breach the contract." Du Gai's face was ashen, and the veins on his forehead bulged. He gritted his teeth and said, "I didn't include that clause in the original contract, but I fucking did in the new contract with Spirit Radiance Sect." You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.